What's going on, guys? Welcome to the stream. Right, no tech issue is gonna defeat us today. All right, smash that thumbs up button. We're gonna beat all of these tech issues. We're gonna get through it. It does not matter, okay, guys? Right, we are building today Facebook 2.0 with Next.js, with Tailwind, with Next Authentication, with Facebook login. Are you guys excited? Let's go, Papa Fam. Check this out, guys. We're going to be building this beautiful application, right? This is a fully responsive build today, right? We're going to have all the functionality that you're after. It's going to have a look at this nice little scroll, right? The top header is sticking to the page. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up if you're excited for this, guys. I know we faced loads of we fought a battle to get to this point, right? But we're going to win this battle. The Papa Fam never fails, okay? We're not going to stop for nothing today. All right, guys, check this out. So you can post a message over here. So let's go ahead and type in "What's up, Papa Fam?" "What's up, Papa Fam?" And then you can go ahead and hit photo, video, and this is going to allow you to select any image that you want, okay? And then it's going to pop up here. As soon as I hit enter, boom, you'll get it come up into your feed, right? It's a real-time feed connected to Firestore. Right, you can see lazy loaded images, right? Everything is working as we expect it. Now let's go ahead and check out the responsive functionality, okay? Check this out, guys. If I go ahead and resize this, now pay close attention, all right? Watch as the different elements on the page start to respond to the screen slides, all right? Look at that. Look at the left side. Oh, that's just beautiful, right, guys? We don't let any of this, tech headache stop us, but look how beautiful that is, right? So look, whether we're on desktop, whether you're on mobile, everything today is going to get built and covered, and I'm going to break it down for you so it's going to be super simple, right? This does have Facebook authentication behind it. Let's go ahead and log out. You can see when you reach sunnysanga.com, you're going to get to the Facebook login page. Once you click login with Facebook, I already have an account, but you guys can go ahead and check it out. As soon as I hit sign in with Facebook, it knows that I'm logged into Facebook, and it's going to sign me in, and then you're going to see my details on the screen. Boom. It pulled my picture, pulled my name. Everything that we need is now available to use. Look at this, guys. We've even got animations over here. So this is incredibly incredible. This is crazy build, right? I had a lot of fun with this one, and I just want to go ahead and say that thank you for sticking with the Papa Fam. And as a result of you guys always being loyal, always kind of punching through any tech issues we have, I'm going to be delivering a 5-day secret challenge, okay? The first link in the description, guys, is your key, right? So reserve your spot, right? Because it's a limited number of spots in this secret challenge, okay, guys? This is the sign up page. Hit that link in the description. Tell me you are reserved. Tell me in the comments right now and say, I have my spot in this 5-day secret challenge. Okay, it literally starts in less than 4 days. Okay, it's gonna be £10,000 worth of prizes. It's gonna be one hell of a party, guys. So I want all of you to be there. It's completely free, and I'm gonna be breaking down how you can take your skills, land clients, freelancing gigs, everything you've always been after in the developer field. I'm gonna be pushing heavy. We're working overtime to do this, okay? So I can see loads of people reserving their spots. We can see Shweta says she reserved the spot. Vikram, there we go, he reserved the spot. Tanish in Poison Code, there we go. Abhishek says, you're slow down, you're not going anywhere. Don't worry, guys, I'm gonna pump this energy back up, right? Nirud says, I'm already registered, let's go. That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's the energy that I'm after today, right? So this is what we're building. You know how it is. Let's go ahead and jump into this build today, guys. Let's do this. We're going to be using Next.js in this build, okay? So the first thing we want to do, head into your directory that you want to work in. So I like to use documents/builds. I recommend you keep your directory structure very clean. And then we're going to do npx create react. Oh, no, we're not doing React. We're doing create next app today, okay? And then what we're going to do is give it an appropriate name. So I'm going to say YouTube clone. Oh no, sorry, it's not YouTube. It's Facebook clone, and I'm going to do -YouTube because it's for YouTube on my computer. So I'll make it very simple for you to find and locate, okay? That will go ahead and create a starter template for me. In the meantime, we're going to be using something called Tailwind CSS today. Now, this is very close to the CSS we know and love. Okay, guys. So this isn't gonna, this isn't like Bootstrap where yes, it makes a website responsive, but you kind of have to learn this whole new responsive way that Bootstrap works. Tailwind, on the other hand, if you already know a bit of CSS, you're going to be best friends with Tailwind, okay? So they introduced something called utility classes, and I'm going to be using that in today's build to make it as responsive as you just saw. Now, it's incredibly easy to set up. We're going to go ahead and do it right now. Check this out, guys. All right, look at that, guys. I love how everyone's registered already. We just broke 100 likes on the video after all the tech issues. Come on, guys, let's pump that number up, right? Let's get that number back to the hundreds, and let's show everyone what the Pop-Up Farm's about. Let's go, guys. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do cd facebook clone -yt, and then we're going to do code dot, and this is going to pull up our code editor. So VS Code should get up and running in just a sec. While it's loading, guys, I'm going to go ahead and type in tailwind css.com/docs. Right, so here we go. Here's our lovely VS Code, our trusted tool, right? So today's a heavy one, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want your full energy. I want coffee, whatever you need to do to make this happen. Get this thing, get that energy back, right? We're not gonna quit until this thing is built. Even if it takes me 4 hours, I will stay here until this thing is built, right? I am not going to sleep today until this app is built. Right, so let's go ahead and click on pages, click on index.js, and then this is the home page. So whenever you're using Next.js, right, your website is going to be structured in a way so it correlates to the pages that your users see. So for example, the home page is called index.js, and then if we add /search, it would simply be search.js. Okay, so this is called file-based routing, right? So typically we use something called React Router, but now we're going to be using Next.js's inbuilt file-based routing. Okay, so this is our entry point for the application. So this is where we're going to typically go ahead and start off. So I'm going to do a bit of cleanup, but before we do that, I'm going to get set up with Tailwind CSS, right? So I'm going to go ahead and firstly run this application so you can see what you get in the template. And let's go ahead and change up the songs a bit. There we go. Nice. I like this song. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do yarn run dev. Right, this will go ahead and spin up the template that we just started. All right, so this starts it up on localhost 3000, and what we should be able to see is it pop up in just a second over here. Right, so Next.js slightly different to what we used to with Create React App, but if you've done any of my Next.js builds previously, then you know how it is, guys. It's an extremely powerful tool. It allows you to do amazing, incredibly powerful things like server-side rendering, okay, and image optimization. Is going to be your best friend if you want to get high on those page rankings on YouTube, on Google, right? Because it boosts your SEO, right? So incredibly powerful stuff today, right? So you can see here, Next.js, our server's up and running. It's built our homepage, and we should be able to see this in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and do localhost 3000, and this is the template that you get when you start it off, okay? Test account says, hats off to your dedication. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you, man. Right, so this is what we do. Let's go ahead and bump it up to 200 likes, guys. Come on, I know we can get the momentum back. I know we can keep on pushing this thing, right? Yes, we're starting exactly from the beginning, and we're gonna keep on going, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead, and you see here it says create next app, right? So something I love about Next.js is it has this next head component, okay? Now this allows us to inject code into the head of the HTML document. So I'm gonna delete this stuff for now, but the title is the interesting part, because here I can go ahead and say Facebook. And then if I go ahead and save, you're gonna see over here that this will change in a sec to Facebook. That's awesome, right? That's very powerful. It allows us to inject our code into the head of the HTML document wherever we are, right? So as you can see, there's a bunch of styling here. I don't want any of it. I want a blank slate. So I'm gonna grab everything from the main down, right? And the footer, and I'm gonna delete it all, right? So I'm gonna do H1, and you guys can see. And I tried to record this video, you know, by myself without you guys, but I just couldn't do it, guys. I need you guys behind me. I need the Pop-Up, I need the energy that everyone has. And that's what the whole family is about, man. Let's build Facebook. Awesome. And this is going to be an H1 tag, right? Hit save, and then we should see this look extremely simple now, okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the pre-default styling. So we're going to get rid of that. Going to get rid of this code and get rid of the image component, okay? Hit save. Nice. There we go. The final thing I want to do is, you can see, look, the styles are starting to look a bit bare minimal, okay? I'm going to go over to my styles. Okay, I'm going to click on home.module.css and I'm going to click on move to trash. Okay, the next one is globals.css. So here I want to go ahead and do command A, delete everything. I don't want anything in this project. Okay, and this allows us to set things up quite easily with Tailwind. So now we have a nice starting point for introducing Tailwind. Let's click on Tailwind start learning. And then you see integration, guys. So you can see a bunch of stuff over here. Okay, so you can see Next.js, create React app and all this goodness. I will zoom in just a sec, right? And then we're going to click on Next.js. Okay, now here it says setting up Tailwind CSS. So I'm going to go ahead and install the dependencies. Now I like to use Yarn, so instead of using npm, I'm going to go ahead and use Yarn today. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not sure what that's about, but let's go ahead and create a new terminal. And then here I'm going to go ahead and say yarn add, sorry, this, and it's going to be -d because it's a developer dependency. Okay, hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and then delete my package lock because I'm using Yarn. Okay, so if you're using npm, it's package lock. If you use Yarn, it's yarn.lock. Okay, so something important to know about. Okay, there we go. Eyeball designing developer, thanks dude. Do not spam, otherwise you're getting blocked. Okay, Jay, go ahead and moderate the chat, dude. There we go. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the next step, which is create your configuration files. So once this is installed, the dependency, we can then proceed to carry on. Okay. Now guys, 160 likes. Let's push that to 200. There's 200 people watching right now. So I believe we can do this, right? There we go. Subramanya just got a internship because of me, right? That's what the Papa Fam's about. Thank you for your donation, dude. Really, really thank you so much. Is there a advantage to using Yarn over npm? Yes. I mean, in my opinion, it's a lot cleaner, right? So we just done it, right? We just got this up and running, and then we're going to do npx tailwind init, tailwind css init-p. This will introduce 2 configuration files into the project. Okay. What we need to do, this will help basically Tailwind function inside of Next.js. The most important part here is telling Tailwind the important folders where it needs to do its cleanup. So where it needs to purge the unused CSS or basically check for the utility classes that we're going to end up using. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and copy this and go over to my file directory tailwind.config.js, and I'm going to go ahead and paste it inside of this right here. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to use the latest and greatest, and it's basically called JIT, just-in-time compiler. Okay, so this is a really powerful feature of Tailwind that they've just released, which is extremely important, that I think you should be using, right? And it introduces a lot of power. I'm not going to go too far into what just-in-time compiler does, but if you check out their website, it explains it great in a really nice little video. I'm going to change the music a bit. There we go. If any of you OGs know, you know where this is coming from. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And we have the Papa Fam now who are absolutely crushing, right? So guys, let's keep going. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. And then the next thing I want to do is that first terminal that I had open, because we've just gone ahead and changed a bunch of stuff, I now need to rerun my server. Okay, but before I do that, I need to go ahead and include Tailwind in my CSS. So I'm going to go over to my global. So where is it gone? Styles, globals.css, CSS. And then basically just paste it. There we go. Right. So here you can see we've got all of our sort of styles in place. Now, what you're going to notice is I'm going to restart this server, right? And then what it will do is firstly, we'll get a message about the just-in-time compiler. That's okay. Remember, it's a new feature, which means it's still in the experimental phase. It's all good, guys. The first time I used Firebase, it was in the experimental phase. Now look where we are, okay? So it's a very powerful function feature, and here you can see you have enabled the JIT engine, which is currently in preview. That's all good, guys. Don't worry, we're gonna use it anyway. And then you're gonna see that this, where it says let's build Facebook, is gonna lose its styling in just a sec. Okay, it's about to lose its styling in just a second. And the reason being is because Tailwind starts off with a sort of blank canvas approach, because what they want is they want a blank canvas, so that way when you're coding, you decide, irrelevant of if you're using an H1, H2, H3, you're the one who decides how an element looks. And to me, that's actually pretty genius, right? I personally agree with this approach. I think you should always kind of, start from a blank slate and kind of progress further as you kind of get, as you kind of want to style your app. Otherwise, you're constantly fighting with some styles, okay? So let's go ahead and check out how we're going to build this. So the first thing I want to do, guys, is I actually want to go ahead and get this top portion built, right? So this is the header component, right? And then we essentially have all of the rest of the application, okay? So this is basically the main portion of the build. So the header is the top part, and then we have these three sort of sub-components underneath. This one right here is going to be the sidebar. This right here is the feed, and this right here is our widgets section is what I'm calling it, okay? And there you go. Oh, I like the song. Right? And then we're going to go ahead and build this out. So what I like to do whenever I'm starting out a build, just so I know what I'm doing next, right, is do a little bit of marking. So here I'm going to mark out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to build a header first, and then I'm going to have the main section of the app. And inside the main section, I'm going to have a sidebar. I'm going to have a feed, and I'm going to have a widgets section. Okay, so this will be the overall structure of the application. Now I don't need the H1 which says I am Facebook or let's build Facebook. Sorry, I just need to start building my header. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to head over to our file directory, and instead of pages, I'm going to go ahead and create a folder called components. Okay. Now this is where all the reusable components will sit. Remember, the pages are going to be the specific pages across our website. The components are the reusable components that we're going to be using. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and say header.js. Now we are using React snippets, so you need to install the ES7 React Redux extension, snippets extension, and it's incredible because it allows you to do really cool stuff like this, right? _RFCE, and that's a lovely little trick that you can do when you're using it. Now, let's go ahead and actually pull this in. So as we all know, when we're using React, you can pull in your components. So let's go ahead and pop this in here. So we got the header. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and import my header like such, right? So we can go ahead and remove my marker. Now, if I code inside of my header, so for example, if I was to say H1 header, we should be able to see this put on the page. Nice. Okay, so this is exactly what we're after right now. And we've got a few questions. You should put the sidebar and widgets outside the main tag. So we can, but in this case, I'm going to keep the structure very simple. I'm going to have the header and then the rest of the main body of the application. Okay, so that's how I like to sort of structure this one. But what I am going to do, guys, I'm going to actually switch on the PuppahFam playlist right now, so that way you guys can get you can get inclined to what we offer over at the PuppahFam, right? So you guys can get full access to this playlist if you do want to. It's completely free. All you can do is check out the link in the description, and everything will go ahead and get sorted for you. So you just need to sign up to the newsletter, and we'll send you the PuppahFam playlist. So let's go ahead and chuck that on right now, guys. Are you ready for this? I love this. This is actually one of my personal sort of coding playlists. So I actually listen to this when I'm coding, and it gets me in that zone, right? So now let's go ahead and get very serious now, guys, right? So I know we had some technical issues. I know we had some headaches, but we're not gonna let this beat us, right? We're gonna get into this focused state and build this out right now, okay? Thank you so much, Sunmeet, for that donation. Appreciate you, dude. Right, we've just hit over 200 likes as well, right? Let's aim for 300 now, guys. Smash the thumbs up button. We were at 700 before the stream went down, so let's go ahead and get those numbers back up, okay? So we're gonna build the header first. Now the header, how do I get this done? Let's go ahead and break this down and get this thing working the way we need to. Right, so the first thing in the header is we're gonna have 3 sections inside of our header component, okay? So in fact, what I might actually do is, this seems to be completely slowing me out, but if the music kind of kills us, we might have to end the music, right? But we're gonna have 3 sections inside of our header, right? We've got the header left, we've got the header center, and then the header right, okay? So the first thing I wanna do is go ahead and actually fix this out. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and, guys, I'm gonna cut the music because it's kind of glitching out the computer a bit, right? We've got some music. We can go ahead and use this one. That's all good. Okay, so we've got the header left, header center, header right, okay? So the first thing we want to do is mark this out. Okay, so we're gonna have our header left, and then we're gonna have the center. Let's go ahead and say center, and then we're gonna have the right. Okay, this looks good. Everything looks nice and clean. So now what we're going to do is we got 327 people watching. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning back in. I appreciate all of you. God damn it. This is what it's about. Honestly, it gets my energy back up there. Thank you so much, guys. Right. So here we do this. We're going to go ahead and say for the left section, right? What do we have? We have this Facebook icon. Plus we have this over here. Now this is a custom input field and we're using hero icons to get all of the icons in today's application. So we're gonna have a little icon here followed by an input field and we're gonna style it with some Tailwind CSS, okay? So I'm gonna move fairly quick now. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're gonna have a div, and inside of this div, I'm gonna use something called an image component. Now this is not the normal IMG image component. This is a special next image component. And what this does, guys, is it actually optimizes the image so that it loads a lot quicker. It does lazy loading, which means if it's not on the screen, it will not be shown until it's scrolled upon. And it also delivers a WebP version, which is a highly compressed new format. So if you can use the image component from Next.js, 100% use it, okay? It's gonna make your app incredibly quick, right? And it's a very good thing to be doing, okay? Now, all the links that I'm using today, I've actually helped you out. I've made them shorter links, so you can pretty much go ahead and copy them a lot easier, guys. So this is gonna be the Facebook logo. You can go ahead and copy that if you would like to. And we're gonna set a width here of 40 and a height of 40, right? So we're gonna set a width of 40 and a height of 40 as well. Width and height of 40, nice. And then we're gonna go ahead and say the layout is fixed. Now these are just some predefined things that attributes which exist for the image component. Okay, nice, cool. Now we're gonna get an error when this happens, right? So I'm pretty sure now, wait for it. Some error is gonna come out and scream at us. And then what it's gonna say is the host name has not been added to the configured list of host names inside of next-config.js. Now what this means very simply is that in Next.js, if we're going to use the image component, we have to actually tell Next.js what sort of domains that we're allowing the images to come from. And that's just a security procedure, right? So it allows our app to be a bit more secure and it allows Next.js to kind of optimize what it's doing. So what we're going to do is add a next config, and inside of our next config, all we're going to do is pop in the following, right? So I'm going to add a few domains in here because what we're going to try and do here is actually whitelist a few different domains that we're going to get pictures from today. So some of them that we're going to use is links.popareact.com. This is actually the Facebook sort of where Facebook sort of store a lot of their pictures. So this is going to be one of the whitelisted areas, and then also Firebase storage. Okay, so we are going to be using Firebase storage today, right? So we are going to be covering, I didn't even mention, we're going to be covering Firebase Firestore, so real-time database functionality. And we're also going to be using the Firebase storage SDK, right? And the file picker API. So everything is going to be really, really powerful when we kind of combine it together. But we're going to whitelist all of these directories so that we can pull images from them in the future if we need to. Now, when you do change the configuration, you're going to see here, it's going to say found a change in next-config.js. Right, so when you get this error, I want you to go ahead and you got to shut the server down and restart it. It's as simple as that, right? All you have to do is shut it down, restart the server, and then you can go ahead and get it up and running. Okay. Nice. Nishit says, thank you, Sunny, for posting amazing clones explaining every point. I'm new to React and all your videos help me a lot to understand the React.js, creating different applications. Thank you so much, dude. I honestly really appreciate comments like that. It helps me continue to explain things. Sometimes I think, am I doing it too slow? But thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you. Right, so we can see that the server has now restarted and we see our beautiful Facebook image loaded onto the screen. Right, amazing stuff. This is lazy loaded, by the way, so it loads after the page actually pops onto the after the rest of the page is loaded. So what we're going to do now is we're simply going to go ahead and let's check out the header quickly. So inside of our header, what we're going to do is we're going to have the next section, which is the input. This is a custom input, right? So we're going to have inside of this, I'm going to have another div. And inside of this div, I'm going to have an icon and then an input field. Remember, so an icon and then an input field. So the input field, the input field is very simple, right? We can just simply do an input field. And we're going to have a placeholder, and this placeholder simply says search Facebook. Okay, so this will say search Facebook. All right, guys, we're almost at 300 likes. We have 300 people watching. That means somebody hasn't smashed that thumbs up button. Go ahead and smash it if you're enjoying this content right now. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Now you can see we've got this nice little input field. Now I want to kind of combine this with an icon. So what we're going to be using today in today's build is actually called Hero Icons. So head over to heroicons.com and you're going to see this right now. This is actually built by the guys over at Tailwind CSS, and if you need an icon, you just simply type it in and you can see you've got a solid variant or you've got the outline variant. So you can see here there's differences between the two. So we're going to go ahead and install this into the application. How we do that is simple. We go ahead and say npm install hero icons react, but in my case I'm using yarn. So what I'm going to do is do Command J, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop open my second terminal, and I'm simply going to do yarn add hero icons react. Whoa, thank you so much, Shagan Sharma. It says, love you, Sunny. Guys, I love you all too. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. We just broke 300 likes. Yes, guys. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Even when the tech issues hit, we still crunch through. I absolutely cannot explain how grateful I am for everyone. Thank you guys so much. That's incredible. Right? I'm not even sure what that little error is, but let's ignore it. Right, Control C, let's cut this off. And I'm gonna go ahead and restart my server. Wait for this, wait for it. And where is it gone? I'm just gonna do yarn run dev, and hopefully we'll wait for that to kind of kickstart in a sec. Right, so while this is happening, let's go ahead and check how we use it. So all you need to do is simply import the icon and you can go ahead and pop it in. Now what's amazing is that the class names, you can pretty much use Tailwind CSS. These are utility classes that come from Tailwind CSS, and they work perfectly well with this component. So it's a really nice fit, right? So what we're gonna have inside of our header component is some of those icons, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull in a bunch of icons right now. Right, so I'm going to pull in quite a few different icons, and these are going to be used throughout the header themselves, right? So we're going to have some from the solid variant and some from the outline variant, okay? Let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in over here. Oh, there we go, paste. So you can see right now we've done a bunch of imports from the solid variant, bunch of imports from the outline variant as well, right? Included in that is the search icon. Okay, so while that's happening, what we're going to do is where we've got the left section over here, we're going to jump down into our left section, and let me go ahead and let me change the music a bit. There we go. Nice. Right. So we've got this here. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and pop in the search icon. Okay, so we're going to say search icon. Your energy is epic. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to open this up. Now we've got our nice, beautiful page back. Now, if I go ahead and pop in a search icon and I go ahead and style this out, so I'm going to say class name, right? And then I'm going to say inside the class name, what do we want it to be, right? So in this case, what I'm going to say is, and guys, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to close my other browser so we free up some of the CPU. And I want you guys to tell me when we hit 400 likes and when we hit 500 likes and when we hit 600, all right? So I want you guys to be the eyes and ears when we're doing this, right? So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. So we've got a class name. And then here, what I'm going to do is simply go ahead and say a height of 6. Right. So now what we should see is a lovely little search icon glass container pop up. So let's go ahead and check on our server right now. And we can see it's built the page out as we needed to. And there we go. Right. So it's pretty big. Right. So we need to make that a lot smaller right now in order to get this to work the way we want it. Right, so the first thing we actually need to do is where we have this surrounding div, I'm actually going to go ahead and apply some styles to this. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a flex, right? So it's going to be flexed out. And the reason why this is going to be flexed is because I want it to be next to the input field. Okay, so I want these two things to be next to each other as opposed to one in front of the other, right? And then the surrounding container, we're going to go ahead and apply some styles here. I want this to be a flex box, and I want the items to be placed in the center. Now this is going to go ahead and apply some Tailwind rules into the mix. Okay, so we're going to have some nice little Tailwind rules being applied now. And let's just double check something right now, because we don't seem to be getting our height being applied here right now. So let's have a look what's going on. Okay, so everything seems to be okay on this end. Let's just double check. Let's do a little bit of a debug right now. So we've got the search icon, we've got a height. Let me just check this out. We've got height and width. And let's just try and change even the text color. And let's see what's happening here, guys. Let's go ahead and say, oh, seems to be getting a bit slow. Valencia. Let me go ahead and actually, I'm wondering if I can, okay, let's change this to a different set. There we go. Okay, cool. So it doesn't seem to be applying the styles. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be applying the styles that we're looking for. And what we need to actually get working in that case is, let me go ahead and hit Command J and let's actually restart our server, right? So we are using the just-in-time compiler, which means that it should have been hitting even normal Tailwind. This should have been working. If we go ahead and hit refresh, we should see our server's dead. Okay, that's good. We want to restart the server from scratch and get it working nicely. Now, what we can do in the meantime is continue to build out the applications. We've got our image, nice. We've got Flexbox with the items central to each other. We're gonna have this one, which is flexed out. Now, what I can do is I don't want this to touch the image. So I can say margin left and I can say 2, right? Now, this is really nice because you can just constantly apply these sort of utility classes here and it goes ahead and stacks upon each other, okay? So we're gonna hit items center like so. Nice. And then here I'm going to say rounded full because I want this to be a nice rounded div, right? So let's go ahead and check if this is nice and up and running. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be pulling in. Let's go ahead and debug this a little bit more, guys. So let's go ahead and check out our index.js and this seems to be all good. Let's check out our app.js and we seem to be pulling in the globals. And if we go to our globals.css, we seem to be pulling in our base utilities. Okay, so everything seems to be working. It's just a case of actually getting it to appear the way we want. So let's go into our header and let's actually see if any of our Tailwind is being applied the way that we expected it to. All right, so here if we say class name, if I wanted to make this text a little bit bigger, let's go ahead and say text. Let's just say 6XL. Right, does this get applied? If it doesn't, then it means our Tailwind configuration is not correct. Okay, so the Tailwind config is not correct. Let's go ahead and debug that quickly because we're going to need that to work perfectly before we can continue on. Right, let's go ahead and hit on install Tailwind and let's double check what's going on here, guys. So we've got the purge correctly set up. We've got JIT, just-in-time compiler, everything working nicely. We have our post CSS configuration. Let's double check if we've got that. Nice. Everything seems to be good in that directory. We have installed everything, although what I will do is do another install just to be sure. Okay. So just to be on the safe side, just to make sure that we are not, we're not randomly doing a bunch of stuff without actually using it. Let's just make sure that we've successfully installed it into the correct directory. So here I'm going to go ahead and say yarn, add, there we go. And let's do an install. And it could, oh, it looks like we didn't install it, guys. Right, so super interesting. So always double check your dependencies. Okay, so always double check your dependencies. In this case, we just saved the correct dependencies back in and now we should be good to go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and double check what's going on. And now we need to do yarn run dev. So that was most likely the issue. Happens to the best of us, guys. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull up a little bit of a screen so I can actually see what you guys are typing to me because I haven't got it on the screen right now. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Seems to be speeding up a little bit. Nice. Awesome stuff. Okay, we've got 368 likes, guys. Let's push on to, let's get that number up. And I think we can hit the beautiful 400. Okay, now we're back. So let's check out what's going on. Interesting enough, it's still not applying it. Oh, it's being stubborn, guys. All right, so we're in a Facebook clone, YouTube, everything seems to be fine. We've got the Tailwind configuration. Let's double check this out. We've got our purge correctly set up. Nice. Everything is working the way we want it. Now, interesting, when we ran yarn dev, we don't seem to be getting our Tailwind error message pop up. Okay, so this is not what we want. We do want that Tailwind error message to pop up. All right, so in this case, we have a slight error somewhere. So what we can do is let's go ahead and first double check our purge configuration. And what I'm actually going to do to make this a little bit easier is I'm going to copy in a configuration of my own. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and chuck this in like so. And we're not going to use this just yet. Okay, hit save. And then what I'm going to do is go over to my post CSS config. We're all good. Next config is looking good. And then we have inside of our globals, we import. Nice. Okay, so now let's do yarn run dev. We'll get through this, guys. Do not worry. All right, we're almost at 400 likes, guys. Smash that thumbs up if you want to see us push past that boundary. Right. Nice. You have enabled the JIT engine, which is currently in preview. Okay, awesome. So you see how before we did not see this error message. So most likely a typo, and hopefully we should be good to go once this page loads out. All right. Wait for it, guys. There we go. Nice. Now we have our styles being applied. This is what I'm talking about, guys. So it's all worth it, right? It's worth pushing through sometimes, and we can get past those trouble points, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get this working out, right? So let's go ahead and pick up the speed again, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to change this to get rid of the header. We don't need that header anymore. We've got the image working the way we needed it to. And then I'm going to go ahead and get let me go ahead and pop open my header. We're going to go ahead and pop in the styling that we're after. Okay, so what I'm going to say is I want a background to be gray, right? So if I want the background to be gray, it's very easy in Tailwind CSS. We just say BG gray 100. Okay, and then I want to add a padding of 2 all around. As soon as I do that, check this out, right? So it's going to go ahead and pop in that style. Do you see how nice that is, guys? Right? And then what I can do is I can go ahead and apply a transparent background. So let's go ahead and go to our input. And here what I want to do is I want to style this a bit. So I'm going to say class name equals, and then I'm going to say we want this to be a flex. It's going to be a margin left of 2 because I don't want it to be touching the icon on the left, and I want this to be central, so everything's centered. And then I want it to be BG transparent, right? So this is going to be a transparent background. As soon as I hit save now, can you guys see how it's starting to look a bit nicer, right? It's starting to look a lot nicer now. It's starting to look a lot more like what we saw previously, right? Now you can change the placeholder text very simply. By doing so, all you need to do, and you can also see when I click this, right, I get this little square blue sort of outline. I don't want that, right? I really don't want that kind of, blue outline. So what I can do here is I can say outline none, placeholder gray 500, and then hit save on that, right? So let's go ahead and pop this in right here. Nice, hit save, and there you go. So now what we should see in just a sec is the outline disappeared. So that looks really nice. That actually looks very clean, right? Now what we want to do is if I want to apply the sort of same color trick to that search, right? So I want that search thing to look a bit gray, so it's kind of on this level, right? Then what we're going to do is I just simply need to go to my search icon class, and I just add in the text, and here I just say text gray 600. Remember I said it comes in shades, right? So here we have text gray 600, and notice how this shade will now switch to a gray. There we go. It was very subtle, but that is now a gray. Okay, so I get a few questions. This is awesome stuff, guys. Love the sort of positivity that you guys are dropping in, and I think we just popped over 400. Nice, guys. That's what I'm talking about. 400 in the house, right? That is awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Just keep on moving, right? So we've got the top left section kind of handled now. So I want to handle this middle section. Okay, so for the middle section, it's actually pretty cool what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a div. So I'm going to chuck in a div, and then I'm going to have again another div inside of it. Now I'll explain what we're doing here afterwards. But the first div, I'm going to apply a class, right? And the classes here is I want this to be a flexbox. I want to justify all the items in the center, right? Because I want all those different icons to be centrally aligned. And then I want this center part to grow. Okay, now what does that mean? It means that this center point, this center sort of box should take up the most space. So it grows if it's able to, right? If there's extra space, I want it to grow, right? Oh, nice. Ankit, thank you so much for the donation. Hey, saying just love your work. I'm also a React dev. I'm kind of weak on Redux. Just wanted to, will you be using Redux in this development? Redux is not being used today, no, but we will be most likely maybe using it in the secret challenge. So first link in the description, sign up guys. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, right? So we have this bit set up on the top left now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually go ahead and style this inner div. Okay, so this inner div right here, what we're going to do, this one is actually, it's pretty cool what we're going to do here. Okay, so we're actually going to create a header icon component. So all of these individual ones are going to be reusable components. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say header icon, and this one as a prop. So in React, we can pass a component props so that way we can reuse it. Okay, thank you Yappy Kang, I appreciate that, dude. Smash the like button if you guys haven't already, and let's keep going guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pass in an actual icon to each of these, right? So remember, we've done a bunch of imports at the top before, right? So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to sort of pop in a bunch of icons. So the first one I'm going to say home icon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and build this, and then we'll see how this looks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually build out the header icon right now. So I'm going to open up components, header icon.js, hit save. This is looking good. Underscore RFCE to pull this in. Nice. Okay, now once this is up, I'm going to go ahead and say this took some props, right? The props come through in here in React, but we can do ES6 destructuring to pull out the icon. Okay, now with the icon, how do we go ahead and make this look like, for example, this icon right here? I want to get that finished, right? So how do I do that? Let me go ahead and firstly, I want to zoom out a bit because I think I'm way too zoomed in right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and for this icon, we're going to go ahead and render the icon out. Now, because it's capitalized, right, because I'm passing in an entire component, we can simply actually render the icon as such, right? But that's only because it's a capital letter, right? So if it's not, then you have to be a bit careful. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it some class names, right? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make this text central. So I actually want to show you guys this in practice first. So let's actually render the icon out first. So I'm going to go ahead and actually import this right now. Okay, so our nice little trick's not working, which is fine. We have to sometimes do things manually. It's all good. It's all good, right? So I'm going to go to the top, and then I'm going to go into my header, and then here we're going to go ahead and get, guys, today we're at a little bit of a slower pace because the computer is battling it's having a battle here, guys, but I think we're good with the pace. Okay, I think we can do this. So I'm going to go ahead and get the header icon and then save. Okay, now what we should see here now is a header icon pop onto the screen. Okay, so if I go into my header icon over here, and then I go ahead and pop this in. Sudash, thank you so much. You missed my previous super chat. Please read that. I can't go back and read them, I'm afraid. So I'm really sorry about that, dude. But once it's gone, it's really hard for me to do it, especially in the middle of a build. All right, so I'm going to class name, and then I'm going to say H5 for height. So let's go ahead and pop that in. And we should see, there we go, guys. Look at that, the header. Awesome. All right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this a bunch of times, right? But what I'm going to do instead is pass in a different, right? So I'm going to pass in a different header icon, icon prop, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass in the following. So we're going to have the header icons, and here we're going to have home, flag, play, shopping cart, and user group, okay? So I'm going to hit save on that, and then we can see all of them jump in here, okay? So now we're going to transform that. We're going to transform that into this. Okay, and you're probably wondering, how the hell are we going to do that? And it's going to be fun, and I'm going to show you how we do it step by step. Okay, so in header icon over here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say this should be, right? So firstly, the container. Let's sort out this container right here. this container right here is the one that's holding all of the elements, so it needs to be correct in how it does it, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm first going to say class name, and this class name is going to be flex. So it's going to be flex, and we're going to say, and I love this trick right now, guys. Check this out. As soon as I do flex, it will apply a flex box. So everything will go into a flex sort of a row. Okay, by default, that's how we know and love flex box. But what if I want a sort of space between each component? Then all I do is I do space dash X. On the X axis, I want a space of 6. And here you can see it renders out to this, right? So if I go ahead and do this, as soon as I hit save now, check out this little gap that it gives between those components. That's awesome, right? Really, really nice. Now, what I can also do is I can say, okay, when we get a bit smaller on the smaller screens, I want to change that, right? So on the bigger screen, it's going to be a space of 6. And then when it hits the smaller screen, I'm going to do, no, so sorry, on the smallest screen, because it's mobile first, it's going to be a space of 6. And then on, as it kind of grows on, it's going to say space X of 2, okay? And there's a reason why we do this. It will look really nice afterwards. Okay, so now we have this looking pretty nice. So what I'm going to do now is actually style out each individual header icon component themselves. Right, so once I'm inside of here, right, so we have this little header icon. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and chuck in, let's do class name. And then I'm going to say, let's do, oh nice, thank you so much. I got a job of 600K as a fresher, credits to you. Right, I think that might be in rupees, unless if that's in dollars, wow, holy shit. Right, that's incredible if that's in dollars, right? I think we're nearly at 500, by the way. Let's go ahead and check it out. Wow, dude, we're nearly at 500 likes. Let's go. All right, so now at the top, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say, I want this to be a cursor pointer right now. So when I hover over it right now, it's like a boring cursor, right? So here I wanna say cursor pointer. So I'm gonna say cursor dash pointer, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and say, I want this to be, we actually want to give this kind of a nice color behind the top, right? So right now, you know, when I hover over them, it gets a nice kind of background color, right? So the first thing is we need to give it some padding, okay? So the padding I want to give it, I only want it to apply padding once we hit the medium breakpoint. So to do that, I just say MD, right? Because on small devices, I don't want this padding, right? So I'm going to do MD, and when I'm going to say pixel, like sort of padding on the x-axis of 10. Okay, so now we should be able to see a padding on 10 be applied to the x-axis. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger. There we go. All right, so now we've got the padding being applied. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say on the small devices, okay, I want to do a height of 14, right? So I'm going to kind of, you know, this is going to be responsive, remember. Right, so on the small devices, this is going to be a height of 14. Okay, so after the small, it's going to be a bit bigger. And I think right now that's a bit too big. Right now I've kind of messed that one up. So it should be a, let's have a look. Right. So first thing we do is I'm actually going to say flex. Let's go ahead and do, oh, sorry, I've done it wrong. This should be in the top. Right, this should be over here. My bad, guys. I'm going to do this. There we are. Nice. And then I'm going to say after small, I'm going to give it a height of 14. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is say we've got a cursor pointer. So now you can see a nice little hover over it. Now when I hover over it, okay, when I hover, so you can use this hover active state. I only want to apply the hover state, by the way, on the medium. So on the small mobile devices, it doesn't make sense to have a hover state. I want to say apply a background gray, right? So BG gray 100. Now, if you check this out, right? So when I apply the hover now, can you see that? That looks really nice, right? So there's a little trick here. I want to center each of these elements. So what I do is I go to the parent, I say flex, and I say item center. And what this will do is it will flex and it will sort of centralize these icons inside of this container. So this is looking pretty good right now, right? Then what I'm going to say is I'm going to do rounded XL, because right now those borders were kind of, you know, they were kind of nasty, right? So now if you see, boom, we get these nice kind of rounded borders, almost at 500. This is incredible stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Just keep on pushing. I think, let me just double check. We are at 475 with 311 people watching. That's incredible. Thank you. All right, let's push to 500. Smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying it. Right. So rounded XL. the next thing I want to do, right, is I want to have, when we click it, I want to give it a little bit of a background border. Okay, so you see when I click this, right, firstly, when I hover, the actual text changes to blue. Okay, and then when I click it, it gets a little underline, right? So how do I get that happening? Right, so here what I do is I go ahead and say active, and I say active, oops, and I say border bottom, so border dash B of 2. Okay, and then I'm gonna say active border, oops, border blue 500. Nice. And now what this will do is when I click it, it will get a bit bigger. Now I'm gonna make my sort of second screen a little bit bigger, so that way my eyes don't die of sort of looking too hard. Okay, so now if I check this out and if I click, you see that, guys? Nice. So when it's active, for example, when I click, right, check this out, look, we get the little additional sort of feature at the bottom. So that looks really nice. Code Design says, Sunny, are you going to use React Router DOM? We don't need to in Next.js because the page routing is actually built in to Next.js. So it's actually really clean in that sense. Okay. Now, when I hover over it, how do I get that to work, right? So when I hover over this, I want the inner element to change color. So the way I do that is I apply something called a group, right? So what I'm saying is this whole div is a group. And then when I sort of hover over, so let's go ahead and go into the inner component. I'm gonna say, okay, when I hover over the entire group, right? So group hover, then what I wanna do is change the text to be a blue and the shade is the 500 shade. Okay, now look at this, guys. When I hover over it, wait for a sec, there you go. See how nice that is, right? So you can see how the blue kind of pops in really sleek, really clean, right? And we have the little clickable functionality as well. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I just want to change a little bit of the styling here. Okay, so I'm going to apply a few things. I'm going to say text center. I'm going to give it a height of 7, which we've already done. So let's go ahead and do text center right now. So I'm going to say, wait for it, guys. Okay, so computer is so slow right now, it's painful. Text center, right? And then we're going to say on the small screens, I don't want it to be a height of 5. Sorry, by default on the smallest screen, a height of 5. Once we break the small breakpoint, then I want it to become a height of 7 because I want it to grow a little bit. Okay, I want MX auto, which means it's going to go ahead and actually sort of space itself accordingly. Okay, and then I want to go ahead and say MY we can leave now. So now obviously this doesn't look right? This looks a bit weird right now. Okay, thank you, Samuel, appreciate you, dude. So this looks weird right now. Okay, the way that we fix that is we go down and we check out what's happening over here. Now if we have a look at this, right, you see this just doesn't look right. Okay, something's wrong here, isn't it? Right, something is definitely wrong. Now if we check out the input, if we add in something called flex shrink, Danny James, thank you for the £5 donation. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Let's do flex shrink here. Okay, so flex shrink. There we go. Nice. Right, and there's going to be a reason for that in a sec. The flex shrink. It takes a while for the page to actually save and load and everything to change and kick in. So it's a little bit frustrating on that end, but let's keep on going, guys. Okay, so now with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and maybe it's my page over here. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm actually going to go ahead and we've already seen this, right, and how it can be responsive. So what I might do for now is go ahead and actually create a little screenshot of that. And then what I'll do is I'll exit out of this for now. Okay, maybe just to save a little bit of space. There we go. That's a little bit less intensive on the computer. Okay, so oh no, it's gonna come up on my screen. That's fine. Okay, let's just carry on. Okay, so we've got the header that we're trying to fix, right? So in the middle, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and sort of organize this appropriately. Okay, so for the header, right, I actually want to just style this right now so we can save ourselves a little bit of headache. Okay, so at the top, I'm gonna go to my div. Oops, I'm gonna say class name equals, and I want this to be sticky. Remember how the header was sticky, right? Here if I say sticky, and I want it to stick to the top, so we say top of 0, right? Then what I say is a Z of 50, because when it goes over other elements, I don't want it to kind of come under the elements as I scroll. Okay, we need to give it a background of white so that way it sticks, right? Otherwise you would see through it, right? Now the top element will be a flex element, and this will push everything into lines. Okay, there you go. You see? And then what we're going to say is items should be central. So let's go ahead and do item center. So items center. And I'm going to give it a padding of 2. And then I'm going to say on the larger screens. So once we hit the larger breakpoint, padding on the x-axis additional of 5. Okay. And then underneath all of this, the way that we give it a shadow is I simply say a shadow of MD. And watch this, guys. Shadow of MD gives it a beautiful looking under shadow. That's incredible, right? We just went from literally looking at something which wasn't that pretty to look at to a page which is actually pretty gorgeous, right? Already, right? That looks amazing already. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this open on the screen because I do actually need that. Oh no, don't. Oh, sometimes Max, a little bit. The struggle today, the struggle. Right, let's go ahead and pull this over here. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get out of this full screen. Come on. My Mac needs to help me out today. All right. Pop this into the next screen. There we go. Bear with me, guys. And then at least when you're watching it back, you'll be able to skip past this. It's all good. Right. We're going to do localhost at 3000. Cool. Right. Actually, this should be sunnysanga.com. Oops. sunnysanga.com. Nice. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. Thank you so much, Pankaj. Appreciate you, dude. Right, and I think we just broke 500. So let's keep on going, guys. It's going to be a long one. I can tell it's going to be a haul today, but we can do this. We can keep on going. Oh, we're 2 likes away from 500. Let's go ahead and push it. So whoever, when we get there we go. Valencia, 500 likes. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, dude. That's incredible. Even after all the sort of, the fighting that we've done today with the tech issues. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I want to pop this over. Now, for the header icon, okay, what I want to do is I want to apply the text to be by default gray, okay? So by default, I want this to be gray. So I want to say text is going to be gray, 500 by default, okay? So you see now the text will go slightly gray, okay? Awesome stuff. Now look at that. That looks really clean, right? Now over here, you can see it looks amazing, right? Now, if I want this to be active, what I can do is I can pass a prop in called active. And what we can do is we can say, okay, if it's active, right? So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to do some string interpolation. So I'm going to introduce some backticks in the game. And now I'm going to say, okay, after all of this, right? If active is true, then I want to go ahead and introduce the class for text. Let's go ahead and check in text blue of 500, okay? Now, obviously, no class got passed, no prop got passed through with an active state. So I want to make the first one, the home one, with an active state of true. So this would mean that this one would then turn blue because we're going to be on the home page, which makes a lot of sense, right? So we're going to go ahead and chuck that to be the blue one. That's looking awesome, guys. So well done. We just done the left section, we did the center section, and now we're moving on to the right section. AR Key says where to learn React. You can go over to papareact.com and we teach all of the skills that you need to know to go ahead and understand everything that I'm doing today. So don't worry, guys. We're going to have you covered over on that side. We have Zero to Full Stack Hero over there. And guys, we have a free 5-day challenge. First link in the description. Do not miss it. And you're going to be able to learn React over on that side. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the right section of the header right now. Okay. So the right hand side of the section, we're going to go ahead and introduce a div. Okay, so we're going to introduce a div here and I'm going to pop in an image tag, right? So this is going to be an image tag, and for this image tag, it's going to take a bunch of different props. Now, what we're going to do here is firstly, this will be the user's picture. Okay, now we don't have the picture yet because we don't have the login page yet at all, right? So we're going to do Facebook login today, like I mentioned. Right, so we're actually going to leave this picture up for now, right? So we are going to have, let's just say the profile pic will go there, okay? Now the next thing I'm going to do is have a p tag, right? Oh, nice, someone actually donated, appreciate you guys, right? So here I'm going to go ahead and say, let's introduce a p tag, and this will have the user's name, okay? So right now we don't have the user's name, so I'm just going to type in Sunny Sanga, but we will change this with the user's login details soon, okay? So once we have that details, what we're going to do is we're going to have a class name, and this one will go ahead and I want this to be semi-bold. So I'm going to say font is going to be semi-bold, And I'm going to give it a padding on the right of 3 because it's going to be next to an element. And I don't want any wrapping to occur, right? So what I say is I say white space, no wrap. Okay. Now, as soon as I hit save on this, we should be able to see now. Look at this. You see that, guys? It comes up on the right hand side. Now you can see, look what happens, right? We get this weird kind of overflow issue going on. This is because it's not responsive yet, right? So obviously we've already made the middle bit a tiny bit responsive, but what about that input, right? We never made the input fully responsive. So what I'm going to say is for the input, I'm actually going to hide a few things here, right? So I'm going to hide the input when we are on a small screen. So by default, it's hidden. So because remember, it's mobile first, right? You apply your mobile styles first and then you go up. So we're going to do hidden. Then I'm going to do, when we break past the medium sort of screen size, I'm going to change it to an inline flex. Okay. So if I hit save now, look what happens, guys, right? So if you can see now, the minute we get small, look how the input changed, right? The input disappeared. Right, so that allows us a bit more breathing room to kind of work with, right? So that's looking pretty good already, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to style out the rest of the right hand side. So on the right hand side for this div, I'm going to go ahead and do class name. And then for this class name, it's going to be flex with item center. Yes, tab 9 actually came in clutch there. And I'm going to say, okay, by default, it won't have any spacing, but on the small screen, I do want it to have a space after the small screen breakpoint hits. So on mobile, it won't have any spacing. As soon as it hits the small breakpoint, it's going to have a spacing of 2 on the x-axis, okay? And I do want to justify this to the end so that it sticks to the end, okay? Nice. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is we've already got the Sunny Sangha name tag. I'm going to go ahead and pop in a few different icons. Okay, now what I want to do, right, is I want to pop in these icons and I want to kind of introduce some relatively complicated longer class utility class like combinations, but I don't want to have to kind of create another component for that, right? So what I can do is icon isn't actually a class name here, right? It doesn't actually apply to anything, right? So what I'm actually going to do is firstly I'm going to go ahead and, oh nice, we've got Qatar in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in, dude. Right, so right now we don't actually see any of the icons, but that's because we haven't got this icon class, right? So what we can do is we can go over to our globals, and this is a pretty cool thing about Tailwind CSS, right? If you ever got a reusable sort of, let's say you like a long utility class, you want to fully customize it, right? You can do that by doing this. Like you go into styles, you go into globals, and then what you do is you basically add your own style. You add your own utility classes. So you go into the components layer. Right, so you basically, we're going to inject kind of our own custom utility class. So the one I want to do is I'm going to create an icon class, right? That's how we do it. We're going to create a new little kind of, icon class. And then I'm going to say, okay, at apply. And then what I do here is I say at apply. And this at apply allows me to write Tailwind in the config, right? So Tailwind in the sort of global CSS file. So what I do here is I say hidden, right? So it should be hidden on small screens. And then only when I reach the extra large screen, right? So only when I kind of reach an extra large big screen do I want the additional right hand side features available. So this is a big screen. Watch when I get smaller, right? You see how the little icons on the right disappeared? That is because of this XL breakpoint. Okay, so here we say XL and I'm going to say inline flex, right? So I want it to become inline flex when we hit that breakpoint. Okay, so inline flex like so. Now I want to give this a padding of 2. I want to give it a height of 10. I want to give it a width of 10. And let's hit save. Now this is a little bit tricky to go ahead and show you because what we're going to have is you guys can see that these are the styles which make this happen. So you can see already we're getting quite a nice look and feel, right? So now what we're going to do is we've applied these. And to finish this off, I'm going to do a background gray. Let's do a BG gray of 200. I want this to be a rounded circle. So we're going to say rounded full. And then I'm going to say the actual icon itself should be a gray, but I want it to be a little bit darker. So we're going to say a 700 tone. I want it to have a cursor pointer when I hover over it. And you can see how crazy powerful this is, right? And then when I hover over the entire thing, I actually want the background to go to a slightly lighter kind of gray. Okay. Now, if I go ahead and make this full screen, check this out, guys. Look at that. Look how nice that is. Right, so it's incredibly powerful what we can do with Tailwind CSS, right? Now I think, let me go ahead and I think what we're doing right now is we actually have 550 likes. That's incredible. I just can't believe that after all the tech issues, you guys pull through. That's just insane, guys. Thank you. Right. So you can see the header is now done. Right. The header's looking great, guys. So well done if you're following along so far. We actually have just completed the header portion of today's build. Right. So now we're in good speed to move towards the sidebar. Okay. So the sidebar is a very interesting, dynamic, sort of responsive component. You can see as the screen gets smaller, the sidebar does react in a very nice way. We lose the text, we get the rest of the stuff available, okay? So how do we get this looking and doing what we need it to do, right? So the first thing I want to do is, before I actually carry on with any of this, let's go ahead and handle the Facebook login portion of today's build, okay? So in order to get Facebook login inside of your app, right, you have to do a few things. Right, the first thing we have to do is install something called NextAuth. Okay, so NextAuth is basically how we're going to handle authentication in today's application. So we're going to click on nextauth.js, right? And if you haven't used NextAuth, smash the thumbs up button, okay? Because I'm going to teach you how to use it today. And this allows you to actually get the session of the user on the server when you're doing a server render, which is incredibly powerful, okay? So how do we do this and how do we even get this to work? So to add Next.js auth to a project, create a file called square bracket nextauth.js inside of pages API auth. Now, if you're not aware, when you're using Next.js, not only do you get a website, but remember, because everything is being served from a server, right? What we actually get is a built-in API. So this is actually like an express API right here, right? So if we check out hello, you can see now, if I actually go to, let's go ahead and say go to /API/hello, right? This is actually a fully functional API. So you can see this returns a response and everything. So this is actually a fully functional, like similar to how an Express server works, right? But what we're going to do is use it for authentication. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to go over to my NextAuth instructions. I'm going to create a auth sort of folder inside of here. Okay. So inside of here, I'm going to create an auth folder. Right now, inside of this, I'm going to create a file called NextAuth with the 3 dots and the square brackets. Okay. Now, once I'm inside of here, what we simply do is we go ahead and we simply add in. Let me go ahead and grab it quickly. We add in the following block of code. Okay. So I'll explain this in just a sec. Right. So this is pretty much going to handle our Facebook login for us. Okay. So if I go ahead and hit save here, right, we can go ahead and we pull in from NextAuth, we pull in from NextAuth providers. So what I'm actually going to do is go ahead and install NextAuth into our project. So I'm going to go into my second thing, and was a yarn add NextAuth. Okay, this will go ahead and install Next Authentication into the application. Right. So here, what we're doing is you can actually add in several providers when you're doing this, right? So if you notice when we logged in the first time, go ahead and check this out. So this is actually a custom login page. It just has a simple button. But when we click login with Facebook, this is what NextAuth provides us. So it's doing a dark template here because I have a dark theme. If you had a light theme, it'll be light. But if I had multiple different providers here, for example, this is an array. I could simply pass in providers.google, pass the credentials in, and then it would say sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, and you get multiple different providers when you're doing this, which is incredible. Okay, so that's actually very, very powerful when we're doing this, right? So now what we're going to do is we need these two things, a client ID and a client secret. Right, so these two things are incredibly important when we're building an application. Okay, so what we need to do now is go over to Facebook. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and type in Facebook, and I'm pretty sure it's developer. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Right, so you need to go over to developers.facebook.com/apps. Right. There you'll find an option to create an application, right? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I've already actually created a clone, right? So I've created an app here called Papa Clone, right? So you're going to go ahead and create an application. So in this case, it could be like Facebook clone or so forth. And then you'll reach this screen, right? Now, once you're on this screen, it's very important you follow these steps. You click on add products and you click on Facebook login. So when you click on add products, you're going to see the nice little page pop up. Wait for it, guys. You can see a nice little pop-up page come up. And then in here, where is it gone? Here you go. You're going to see this. Now there would be an option for a Facebook login. Once you do that, you'll get access to this panel over here. So if I click on settings, check this out, guys. We're going to get two things, right? we're going to get, where's it gone? Wait for it. I think it would be actually it's in settings over here, right? And then basic. We need the two things. We need an ID and a secret. There we go. Here it is, guys. We've got the ID and we've got a secret. Okay. So what you'd have to do here, right, is you go ahead and you do the following steps. So this bit is very important that you take note. So I'm going to show you how to use process environment variables as well. So what I need to do here is I need to open up my folder structure, go here, and I'm going to create a .env.local file. Okay. So .env.local, and this means that I have like a local environment file. And this is basically where you keep your safe, sort of secure environment variables. Okay. Now the structure that we want to have today is going to have 3 variables. Okay. So there's going to be 3 variables that we need to account for. Facebook client ID, where the client ID goes here. So this is going to be this app ID. Now this isn't really super secret, so I don't have to hide this one. So let me go ahead and pop this in there. The Facebook client secret, this one is incredibly sort of, you have to hide that one, right? Otherwise everyone's going to access it. So that's actually this one right here. And then you've got this over here, right? So HTTP, and then this is actually next auth. So this will be this when we're developing locally, and we have to change that to be our website URL, for example, sunnysanga.com, when we deploy, right? That allows Next Authentication to do its magic when we're authenticating a user. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and simply go ahead and replace this, but I'm not going to show you guys the secret key. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to go ahead and pop my beautiful face on. So now you guys are going to see this. I'm going to go ahead and add in my key. So I'm pretty much going to go ahead and grab a key from here, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop this into where it says the secure key, right? And I'm actually going to go ahead and quickly grab my key right now. And oh man, I think it's going to ask me something. Right, guys, give me 1 second. I just need to go ahead and quickly get this access to this this little bit of code right here. So let me go ahead and grab it. Right. For a sec. And then once we get access to that, right, we can go ahead and get in to what we need to get, right? So bear with me 1 second, guys. We're almost there. Okay. Let me quickly grab this credential. Boom, boom. And now I've got it. Awesome. Right. Sorry for the delay, guys. Now I've gone ahead and popped it in there. Awesome stuff. Okay. So I just added in the Facebook client secret. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go ahead and let me just see if it's still hidden. I think we're good. Okay, cool. So now I have the secret added to the directory. Okay. So we have in our environment file, we have all of our stuff set up. So if I go back to nextauth.js, this will now pull from that environment file. So these are called environment variables. In order to get it to load the environment variables, I need to go ahead and restart my server. Okay. So I'm going to do yarn run dev and restart my development server. Okay. Let's keep going, guys. This is good stuff. Hey, are you using Redux? We're not actually going to be using Redux today because of the way we built it. We don't actually need Redux. Okay. So what we can do now is pretty much we can actually start using it, believe it or not, right? So they've made it incredibly easy and incredibly powerful to go ahead and do this. Okay. So now you can see host name, links.papa react. What is that saying? Okay. Anyway, all right, let's go back to our application. Let's do a refresh and see what's happening. Okay. Okay, wait for this, guys. There we go. It's still doing its thing and still loading. Honestly, I don't know if it's comments or what it is today, but something is killing us, guys. All right. Okay, so once we're on this page, we need to go ahead and actually sort of update our application. So we need to go into the _app folder. Now this is where we basically go ahead and supercharge the app. So just like we use Redux and use other things, sometimes we have to go ahead and wrap our app, right? So to enhance its functionality. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm actually going to be wrapping the application in something called a provider, and this will allow us to have a sort of, a logged in state throughout our application, and it will allow us to use some of the features of NextAuth. So what we need to do here is go ahead and add in the following lines. Okay, so what this does is it allows us to persist a login state between pages on Next.js, right? So Next.js, wow, 600 likes. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Let's beat 700. Let's just keep going now. Honestly, let's just keep on pushing, guys. Incredible stuff, right? So I'm going to go ahead and import provider from NextAuth client, right? Let's do this. Let's hit save. And we're fighting against a lot of tech issues right now. I'm telling you, right? And now we've got this page up and running. So the first thing we want to do is refresh, make sure everything is still working. Okay, so how do I get access to the user, right? Like, are they logged in? Are they not logged in? Are they not logged? Like, how does that even work, right? I don't even know where to begin with this, right? So what we can do is we can go over to our index, right? And what we can do inside of here is we can simply go ahead and pull the user, sort of their session is called, right? We can pull their session information, right? So what's really cool about this is we're going to introduce the concept of server-side rendering. Okay, now server-side rendering basically means that, but imagine Sunny goes to sunnysanga.com, right? It will hit the middle server first, and that's where we're basically hosting our Next.js app. From there, we can tell if the user's signed in or signed out based on the request that went to the server, and then it basically goes ahead and prepares the page and sends it back to the user. Okay, so this is really important because it prevents us from having that sort of, imagine when you go to a application sometimes you're in a logged out state and then it snaps and you're logged in. We don't always want that, right? So we can fix that with server-side rendering. So how do we incorporate server-side rendering inside of a Next.js app? Well, it's actually pretty simple. All we need to go ahead and do is go ahead and say export. So here I can say export async. We can say function get server side props, and we're just by introducing this function tells Next.js that, okay, we're now going to have server side rendering for this page. Okay, so what we can do is this actually gets an argument called the context, and this is the he's not actually here. I am here, dude. This is not recorded. Get server side props. This is the context. This is basically like it has the request information, the response, all that good stuff. Look at this, guys, 622 likes. That's what I'm talking about. Let's keep on going, guys. 700, we can do it, right? So in order to get the user, what we have to do here is we go ahead and say const session. Okay, so const session equals, and then what I say is I say await, right? Because we are in async function, and I say get session. Now this is a handy little function provided by NextAuth library, okay? So this one I can say get session. All it requires is the context. Okay, the context is the request that came through when the user tried to go to sunnysanga.com, right? So now I have the session. What I can do is I can return props, right? So I can return the props, and inside the props I can return a session. Now, what the hell does that mean, right? So think of it this way, right? Sunny makes a request to go to sunnysanga.com, right? Or google.com, whatever your Next.js application is. Sunny makes the request, it hits the server, right? The server then just got the user's session, which means are they logged in, are they not, right? Now the user is waiting at this point, right? So the server has that information. So what it does is it basically prepares the page, and then that session information, it passes it to the component as a prop. Okay, and then all of this information gets rendered on the user's browser, right? So it's an extremely efficient way of doing it. Okay, Lux says, is it recorded? No, dude. So what I can do here is where it says home, I'm going to go ahead and pass in the props, and the props we can destructure, and I'm going to get the session. Okay, now this is the cool part, right? Because now I can see if the user's logged in. So if there is no session, right, then what I want to do is I want to return a login component, right? So I just want to kind of return some kind of login page. Otherwise, I'll return the app itself, right? And now we don't have a login component, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the login component now. So I'm going to go ahead and say login.js. Oops, let's go ahead and pop this in. So here I'll say login.js, right? Nice. So with the login, I can go ahead and basically do the following. So I'm going to go ahead and do _RFCE, Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, we're going to firstly going to have an image tag. So an image tag like so. And inside of this image tag, I'm going to have a bunch of attributes, right? I'm going to have a picture. This is going to be the Facebook picture. So let's go ahead and pop this in here. Right, so let's go ahead and chuck that in. This is a Facebook picture, height of 400, width of 400, and object fit contains, so it keeps this aspect ratio, right? Now, if I go back to my header, if I go back to my index, where's it gone? Index, right? We haven't saved this file yet. I need to import my login, okay? So the minute I hit save now, if the user's not logged in, we should see a login screen, okay, which is correct, right? I want to see a login screen right now, okay? So let's hit save, and now we should see it does a server-side render, it gets the user's information, returns it as a prop. The user wouldn't have been logged in, right? So it takes them to the login component. Now we got an error, which is fine. Let's go ahead and debug it, right? The reason being is because we haven't imported our image component, okay? So all we need to do to get this working is actually go ahead and import the image component from Next.js image. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this in here. So let's go ahead and pop this in like so. You are so good with React. Thank you so much, dude. Honestly, it just takes a lot of practice, and then you can go ahead and push through. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh. And now we should see a Facebook. If we see a Facebook, smash that thumbs up button. Okay, there we go. Ah, nice. That's what I'm looking for, guys. Facebook is here. Okay, so Harpreet Full, look what we're talking about. Papfam is in the house. One of many. Nice, dude. Harper, we have had so many technical difficulties today. It's incredible. The stream went down, all sorts of craziness. My computer is running at the speed of a snail, but we're still going, right? We're still going. So we're good. We're good. We're not going to let it stop us, right? So here I'm going to add an H1. Now this H1 is just simply going to say login with Facebook, okay? Simply going to have a login with Facebook and super simple, right? Now what I'm going to do is to center these elements, right? You're going to be amazed at how simple the authentication flow is after this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit the div with class name, and I'm going to say grid, and then I'm going to say place items in the center. This is a little trick, by the way, right? And this will pop everything into the center of the page, right? Now to get that button looking a bit more juicy, because right now it looks like crap, right, I'm going to say padding of 5, and I'm going to give it a background blue of 500, right? Now you're going to see this is going to pull a little square around it, right? That's not really a Facebook kind of button. So I'm going to say rounded full, right? To give it like a rounded look and feel. And I want the text to become white, okay? So the text will now become white, right? And then I want the text to be central as well. Okay, let's make the text central as well. So text central, or center, sorry, central. Okay, no, nice. That looks pretty good, right? So this is looking quite nice at the moment. Right, so we've got this login state, right? And now obviously I want the cursor to be a pointer. So I'm going to say cursor pointer, like so, right? And then hit save. And now you can see we've got this nice little button, right? So all I need to do now is when I click this button, I want it to basically go ahead and provide the login sort of situation, right? That login page that we saw. Now you're probably thinking there's so much to do around this, right? It's really crazy simple, right? Now, because we did that next authentication setup earlier with the credentials and keys, all I need to do now is go ahead and do a paste and do import sign in from Nextdoor's client, right? And then what I can do is I can go ahead and say on click, and I can just go ahead and say sign in, right? I'm not joking. It's crazy, right? It's crazy how easy this is, right? Watch this, right? So now if I go ahead and do this, now bear in mind, I have signed into Facebook on my computer, so it may not pop up the Facebook screen, but I'll show you in incognito browser as well. So if I click login with Facebook, boom, sign in with Facebook pops up. I click sign in with Facebook. It took me to Facebook, right? And then it's going to do a redirect in a second if I'm not logged in already. And let's see what's happening on Facebook. So it says invalid app ID. Oh, okay. The provided app ID does not look like a valid app ID. So I've actually provided an incorrect app ID, but you see, it's kind of getting us there, right? And this is actually, look at that, guys. I actually got so confused there for a second because this is actual Facebook, which is insane, right? So let's go ahead and actually double check our app ID. So I'm going to quickly hide my screen for a sec, and I'm going to go over to my configuration. Okay, so this is probably because of the development. So what I'm going to do actually is go back to my application. So this will actually break the one that's probably live right now. let me go back to my environment local files. So let me go back to my env file. Oh, I didn't actually add it, I don't think. Right, so where's my env file? Okay, guys, that's the issue. Right, so I didn't actually add in a env file, which is crazy. I thought I did. Okay, guess I did not. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my environment file. So environment file, and I'm going to go ahead and pop in my values as before, right? So this is the environment file that I should have added, which I didn't add, which is crazy. I don't know. I don't remember why that happened. I thought I did add it, right? And I'm going to go ahead and pop in the values. Okay. So inside of here, right, we need the client ID and we need the client secret. So I'm going to go ahead and get that from Facebook. I'm just going to hide it quickly so it doesn't pop on the screen. Settings, base. I can't deal with another tech issue today. It's crazy, right? So the app ID, I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Simple. I've got the app ID now. I'm going to paste it onto the screen. Nice. And then I'm going to get the app secret. Okay. So the app secret I'm going to grab as well. And there we go. I'm going to pop that onto the screen as well. So all I did there was added in the values for the environment file. Okay. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and get rid of that. And then I can go ahead and go back into my index and make sure that we actually have the environment file. Okay, awesome stuff. Now I have an environment file. So my environment variables are in here. Okay, so weird. We didn't actually have that before. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and cut my server. I'm going to do yarn run dev. Okay, then I'm going to go over to my application. Right now here, I'm going to go back to my localhost 3000, 660 likes. Let's keep going, guys. This is awesome stuff. Make sure if you haven't already, sign up for the secret challenge, right? It's going to be huge. It's going to be an absolute banger of 5 days. So make sure you do not miss out. Okay. So while this is loading, let's go ahead and continue on the coding. So we've got the login page. Oh, I guess we're done now. So let's go ahead and get that sorted. Okay. Login, localhost 3000. Come on, guys. This is going to work. This is a secret challenge, guys. 5-day secret challenge. I love the fact that you guys see the problems that happen as well, because that's quite interesting, because you're going to fall into those problems as well. It makes it real. Let's click sign in with Facebook and fingers crossed. Let's see what happens, right? If it says invalid app ID, okay, URL blocked. That's fine. This is because we are not in test mode. Okay, so when you're developing, you actually want to have this in test mode. Okay, oh, I guess this app secrets are right. You're going to click on switch mode. Okay, and then I'm going to make this development mode only. Okay, so it's only going to work on localhost now. Okay, so here it should work now. Okay, so you need to make sure you switch that when you're testing it. Otherwise, if you're testing over HTTP connection, it will not work. Okay, so that's a very important little thing that you need to know about. So if I try it again, sign in with Facebook, let's see what happens. Okay, nice. Now it logged in and we have a session. There we go, guys. Look at that. Right, that's incredible, right? We have an actual session working. It's now logged in. We have the session. And if you check in the server, it says JWT auto generated signing key. So it actually went ahead and created a key for us. It did it. Boom, that works. So now if I refresh the page, we are logged in, which means that we don't go to the login page, which is incredible. It works, right? So that's actually super powerful. So now what we can do is we can start to use that information in things like the picture, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my header. Right, so I'm going to go back to the header, and then I'm going to go ahead and style out the header. Right, so that's awesome, right? So a lot of people probably haven't used that, and now you're going to know how to use it, which is incredibly powerful. Okay, so here what I'm going to say now is I'm going to have an image, right? And this image I will explain right now. Okay, so this is where the profile picture was going to go. I'm going to go ahead and pop it in here. So I'm going to have the image pop in here, and when we click it, I'm going to trigger the sign out. Okay, so I don't even need that. We're just going to trigger a sign out, and I'll show you how we import this. I'm going to have a rounded image with a cursor pointer when I hover over it. And this is the interesting part, session.user.image, right? So Facebook, when we logged in, provided a bit of details. It provided a name, image, email. So we got the width of 40, height of 40, layout of fixed, so it means it won't change even if we shrink the page. But how do I get this session.user.image? How do I get that variable? Okay, so there's a really nice handy little hook that we can use to pull the session information from anywhere within the app now. So to get the user's authenticated sort of state, we can go ahead and pull the session, right? So what I need to do is I go ahead and import this hook, and this gives me the session, right? So now I actually have the user's information at hand, okay? So which is incredibly powerful. So if I click save, we should see now the user's image pop up on the left here, right? So if all went well, okay, sign out is not defined. Okay, that's not too bad. The reason why that's happened is because sign out is a function that we need to import from NextAuth client. Okay, so we need to go here, sign out, and then we've also got use session, save, and then let's check this out and refresh. And look at this. Is this connected to a backend Firebase? Yes, it will be. Check that out, guys. So now if I click that, it should sign me out, right? So if I click this, wait for it. If I click it, it will sign me out, which means I no longer have a session, which means it redirects me to the login component, right? That's incredible. Now, if I click login, if I click sign in, this will take me to Facebook. I'm already signed in on Facebook, hence it will log me in. Otherwise, you'll get a Facebook prompt. Boom, we have my login credentials. That's my picture on Facebook of me and my mum. Awesome stuff. Okay, so now we have the header component and the authentication portion done. That's really quite powerful, guys, already, right? So we're already touching base already quite soon, right? So let's keep on moving at this speed. We're about to break 700. Okay, we're about to break 700. We have 300 people still watching. I can't believe your attention, guys, is incredible. Thank you so much. All right, so now let's carry on. Looks cool until now. Yeah, it's amazing, dude. All right, so we're not using Firebase Auth, we're actually using NextAuth because it allows us to have the session information on the server render, which is incredibly powerful. All right, thanks, Pranav. He says, nice, Sunny. All right, so now I'm going to create this sidebar component. Okay, so I'm going to create the sidebar component. Now, guys, I do want to mention, if you haven't already registered for the 5-day challenge, definitely do it. It's the first link in the description. It's going to be huge. 5 days of continuous building, technical, developer stuff with me, your boy Papa React. And then, guys, you know what to do. Subscribe if you haven't already, because 60% of you aren't subscribed, right? So it's crazy, right? If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit this, create a sidebar component. So let's go ahead and create the sidebar component. Sidebar.js. Now this is going to be a long build, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to do, so keep interested. Hit the thumbs up button. Have a drink of water if you need it. Carl says you're crushing it, man. Definitely sign up for the 5-day challenge. Nice, dude. That's what I'm talking about, my boy Carl. Always pulling through, man. Thank you, dude. All right, and I appreciate everyone. I make sure I remember who is who. Okay, it's very, very hard to remember. All right, so it's hardwired to Sunny Sangha. Yes, good shout. Thank you for spotting that one out. If we go back to header, thank you so much for. So that's what I call developer sort of pointing this out, man. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Here, instead of Sunny Sangha now, I'm gonna make it session dot. Right, and here you're gonna see, look, user. We get a user dot, and we get the email name. Oh, God's sake, get out of the way. Where's it gone? Get out of the way. Get this out of the way. Thank you. Then we've got email, image, or name. So I'm going to use the name. So now you'll see I'll pull it from. This is actually now being pulled from Facebook. So thank you, dude. Very good. Very, very good. Who said that? Shweta. Thank you. All right. That's awesome. Life of Mo. I will definitely. I think you talked about encryption somewhere, but I'm not going to get into that right now, okay? Because we're kind of we're going to cross territories. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the sidebar. Now for the sidebar, we are going to go ahead and pull in the session information because I'm going to need the session for the top image. So if you noticed, actually, let me quickly log into sunnysangha.com. 1 second, guys. Okay, so if you noticed on the top left, we had the picture of me. So I want to have that right over here. So the way I do that is I go over to my application and I'm going to go ahead and say, oops, const session, and I need to pull in my use session hook. Okay, that's only working, remember, because we wrapped, right? We wrapped it in the beginning, _app.js in that provider. That's how we can use the session throughout different pages. That's why we do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say class name equals, and then here I'll say padding of 2, right? Because remember, we're creating the sidebar now, guys. Right? We're creating this right here. Okay, so I'm going to do padding of 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, and you see the top's not fully responsive yet. We're going to fix that. Yeah, I'm going to say padding of 2. I'm going to say margin top of 5. And then I'm going to give it some max width constraints. And now because we're using the just-in-time compiler, I can give these square bracket custom values here. If I wasn't using it, I couldn't do that. So on a mobile screen, I'm going to say 600 pixels is a max width. But when we hit the extra large screens, I'm going to say the min width should be at least 300 pixels. Okay. So I'm kind of, forcing it to be that size when we hit the bigger screen. Right. And a lot of thoughts gone into this when I was designing it. Okay, so trust me, it takes some time to build this up. Right. You are so innocent. Thank you, dude. So here I'm going to go ahead and say sidebar row. Okay, so sidebar row. And we're going to go ahead and have a reusable component for each one of these, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have this have a icon. So it's going to have an icon as one prop. And that's going to be like, a bunch of icons that we import. So we're going to import those right now, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and import all of the icons that I'm going to need. So let's go ahead and pop that in right now. Where is it gone? Yeah, come on. There we go. Let me actually turn off my Flux. I use Flux to save my eyesight, guys. You guys should do it too. It's very, very important. Okay. So, but I need to stay awake right now. So we've got this open, and then I'm going to use the icon here to be, and this one's going to be users icon. So let's go ahead and say users icon. And then I'm going to have the title prop. And this one would say friends. Okay. So this one is basically going to represent this, right, where it says friends on the left. Here we're going to have the same thing, but it's going to be like so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually repeat this a bunch of times at the top, right? And I'll show you how we do the one for the person afterwards as well. Okay, so we're going to have the sidebar row, which can accept an icon or title. And then we're going to have a special one at the top, which is actually going to go ahead and pass in a source instead of an icon. So if it passes in a source, I want to render out a picture. If it passes in an icon, I want to render out an icon. All right, so we're going to make a very nice reusable component. Okay, Hector, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. All right, so here, sidebar row. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say sidebar row.js. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to do underscore RFCE. Now, guys, if you are watching this and you follow me on Instagram, go ahead and shoot a story. I always appreciate looking at your stories. It's amazing to see you guys in the flesh, because right now, it's hard to see you guys as it's really difficult when you just see comments, right? And then you realize there's 700 people liking this video right now, which is incredible, right? So I always love to see that, right? So then I'm going to go ahead and say for the sidebar row, right? So for the sidebar row, I'm going to go ahead and pull in the props. Now the props that I'm using, I'm going to destructure them. I'm going to say source, icon, title. Okay. So there's a bunch of things I'm going to be using here. And let's go ahead and hide that so we have some space. And I'm going to say, okay, if they passed in a source. So like when I want to render the person's picture, then I will render a Next.js image, which means I do need to import Next.js image into my code. 700 likes incoming. Thank you, Jay. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, dude. Keeping me upbeat. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Let's pop in the image. And I'm going to say it's a rounded image. The source, the width of 30, height of 30, layout fixed. Don't want to change its size. Okay. And then I'm going to say if there was an icon, right? So if somebody passed in an icon, then I want to render the icon out. Okay. So you see what we're doing here? We're doing a conditional render of JSX. Okay. Now this icon, I'm going to go ahead and pop in. And this icon is going to say it's going to be a height and width of 8. And it's going to have a text blue of 500, which means the icon itself will be blue. Okay. Then we're going to have a P tag. Now the P tag is going to have the title inside of it, and it's going to have a class name. And the class name here is going to be hidden by default on mobile view. And then on the smaller screens and above, I'm going to say it's inline flex, and it's going to be a font medium. Okay. 700 likes. Boom. That's incredible. That's actually insane. The fact that we had tech issues, we had to start from scratch on the likes, and you guys still 720 likes. Wow. That's just wow. Thank you guys. Carl, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. Holy crap, guys. Damn. Right. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to import my sidebar row in the sidebar component. Okay. So import sidebar row. I think we're going at a good pace, guys. Let me know if this is a good pace for you guys. All right. So now if I go ahead and hit refresh, wait for it. We should see a bunch of change now. Oh, no, nothing. Right. And then The reason we don't see anything is because of sidebar row. Let me check this out. You deserve it, bro. I've been here for a minute observing the time. Thank you so much, Anthony. Appreciate you, dude. Okay, interesting. So we don't actually see the sidebar row, and this is because okay, we don't actually have any sidebar being rendered. So we go back to index, and here the sidebar. Oh, we do. Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, gotcha. This is why. So I need to go ahead and actually import the sidebar, and then I'm going to import sidebar like so. Hit save, and now we should be able to see a sidebar. Boom. Okay, so obviously that's huge. So I mean, it's kind of there, but it's not. Like, it's really not. Right. So we need to kind of fix that. Right. So if I go to my sidebar row, and then Australian here, nice. Iron Man Jarvis, what's up, dude? And then I'm gonna go into sidebar row, and what's going on here? So sidebar row, if we have the icon, needs to be a height and width of 8. Okay. But that's huge. Oh, the div. There we go. Right, the div is trying to use up a block, inline block, which means it's going to use up the entire space. We don't want it to be that. We want it to be a flex. Thank you, Shrikant Vangala. Appreciate you, dude. $5 donation. Thank you so much, man. I'm going to say items center, and then I'm going to say space X of 2. Okay. Now you should be able to see a minimal change, I guess. P of 4. Let's double check this out. One sec. Let me go back and do a P of 4. Right now, interestingly enough, our icon is freaking out with the size, right? So let's have a look why this is happening. Height and width of 8. Let's just go ahead and change this to a height of 8. Okay, interesting. These are huge. Holy crap. This is because we've got flex items and space X2. We've got P. Let's go ahead and just finish off the styling, and then we'll come back to the issue. We'll say hover. We'll say BG gray of 200. I want to do rounded corners when I kind of highlight over it, and I want it to be a cursor pointer. Okay. Oh yes, more likes please. 800. I think we could do that, man. And now you can see, now we've got the sort of, it will. We should have that. BG gray sidebar row. Okay, let's just double check sidebar. And then here inside of sidebar now, let's just double check that we've actually set everything up correctly, because I think in sidebar we've messed it up, right? It's either in here or it's to do with the actual, oh, okay, I got it. I know where it is. Right now, these are using up the entire width, which makes sense because if we go back to the index, right? What we actually need to do is if we go back to our index, index, right? What we need to do is in here, I need to say class name and apply a flex to all of the things inside that main block. Okay. So this will be a flex. Wait for it. Boom. Look at that. Clean as hell. Right. Now that looks pretty nice to me. That looks pretty nice to me. We just need to make it, I mean, that's not really correct, is it? Right. Red background for debugging. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go over to the sidebar row and let's just debug it and get that looking perfect. Okay, so back over to sidebar row. First time watching live, always used to watch replays, your videos out. Sam, what's up, dude? Good to see you here. Right, so here we've got small inline flex font medium. Okay, that's the P tag. And then for the div, we've got flex item center. We've got space X2, P4, hover BG gray, rounded XL, cursor point. Okay, cool, nice. But the interesting part is that why is this not growing? I think it might be due to my sidebar not using up its space like it should be. Right, so interesting. Okay, let's debug this. So we've got the sidebar, which has a P of 2, margin top of 5, max width 600, min width 300. Okay, and we've got the sidebar row, which is width of 8. But where is my right now I don't even see my title. Am I passing in the title? Yeah, I'm passing in the title. So I'm not seeing the title come through at all. Okay, so interesting. Let's just go ahead and do, I just want to see something for a sec. Let's do a H1 with the title coming through. Okay. Okay, so it's actually to do with my styling there. Okay. So we're saying it's hidden and then on the small inline flex. And if I was to just give this my flex, or to be honest, this could just be an inline. Okay, let's double check something. Right. Now I've made a silly mistake here. I just want to double check something. I want to kind of, okay. So everything is correct. Okay, so this is actually correct, guys. It would be to do with my higher component. So it would be to do with my, let's just double check the styling over here. Paste, okay, seems all good. Let's check out the, it's got upper level. So you know when you're debugging, that's all you're gonna do, right? You're gonna go upper level, see what that's about, and see what's happening over there. Okay, I think I see where the issue might be. Index or JS. Height of screen. Let's go ahead and change this to become, let's go ahead and give the background of the entire thing a, we're going to give it a height of a screen. We're going to overflow hidden. That's for the little scroll trick. So when we want this little trick, right? And then background gray. So let's go ahead and apply that right now. Let's see what happens. Right, so that's okay, I guess. But right now we're still not doing what I'm looking for. Okay, so sidebar. Why is my sidebar acting out? Because right now it's on the sort of mobile view. It's stuck on the mobile view. So if you see this right here, it's kind of stuck on this view, right? And even then my hover state isn't working. So we touched 750 likes. Let's go, guys. This is real coding because look, I'm like, this is what happens. You get stuck and you have to figure it out, right? So inside of the session, let's have a look. Sidebar, P2, MT5, max width 600 pixels, extra large, min width 300 pixels. Got it. Okay. Okay. And a sidebar row. Okay. And then over here, a sidebar row. We've got hidden SM inline flex. I'll have to get rid of this for a sec. Super interesting. What is going on here? I think, let me actually, something booky is happening here. So let me go and I just want to double check that it's actually not a local sort of caching issue or something, because all my styles seem to be correct. Super strange. Title hidden maybe. It's not, yeah, I tried it, but it would be on the mobile view and then afterwards we change it to an inline flex. Seems to be okay, but Bernard, just give me anything when it comes to the challenge, right? Like literally sign up and just stick with us. You can watch the videos afterwards. We're making it sort of, you know, like fit everyone's schedule, but dude, just be there. That's all I ask. Okay. Okay. Let's come back to it then, I guess. Maybe let's just try and come back to this in a bit. Maybe height and width of 30. The image tag looks great. I'm not even getting my hover state right now. Hover BG gray. Let's do a hover red. Okay, interesting. So I'm not even getting a hover state right now of this class. So we've got function sidebar row. Let me go ahead and literally copy this class and redo the class. 1 second, guys. So I'm gonna do this and literally paste it. I shouldn't have changed anything. Let's just React. Okay, interesting. Come on, guys. Damn it. This was definitely going to be the longest build, guys. This is definitely going to be the longest build because we're kind of caught at a point. Text. Let me just try something. Text red 500. And that's so strange. That changes it to what? Text green 500. That changes it to that. What? Okay, something super strange happening here. Okay, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's go ahead and continue on with the build. Let's go to our index. Let's continue with the index, right? Let's build the feed, right? The feed and the widgets. So here I'm going to go ahead and say feed. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the feed, the rest of it. And then let's just see what's going on here. Feed.js. Oh, nice. Daniel Torres. What's up, dude? Subscribe if you're new, dude, because we pretty much keep these builds coming. This is going to be, you're pretty much going to witness the longest one right now, I'm telling you, because I'm not quitting until this is done. But this is what is known as a bad day. Yeah, honestly, it's a tough day. I'd say it's a tough day. Right. So we're going to have the feed. Okay. Now inside the feed, we're going to have a div, and this is where we have the individual points. So we're going to have the stories, the input box, and the posts. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to have is the stories. Okay. So here we'll have the stories. Then we'll have the input box. Input box. And then we'll have the posts. Okay. So we're going to have a bunch of stuff here. Let's keep on going, guys. All right. MC Fresh, what's up, guys? So we've got stories. So here I'm going to say stories. And then I'm going to go ahead and do component. And this one's going to be stories.js. Now underscore RFCE, pop in our stories. And over here, what we're going to do is for the stories, I've actually simplified this for you quite a bit. Okay. So what I've done is I've actually introduced a data structure here. So you can go ahead and just copy the data structure. And what this is simply going to go ahead and have an array of a bunch of objects. You've got name, source, profile. Okay, so this will have the names of each individual. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a story card component and map through it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is for this stories, we're going to have some styling to it. So the class name here would be flex. I do want to justify them centrally. So the stories that we're talking about here are these. Okay, and then I'm going to say space x of 3. So space x of 3. And then we're going to say MX auto. Okay, MX auto, right? MX auto, there we go. Let's go. Rangel's production just says, oh, Harry Collins. Dude, so I think if Harry Collins is watching right now, like, dude, let's shout out, right? 760 likes. Let's keep going, guys. If I can make an app like this on my own app, my job ready. Yeah, man, show it to your employer. Honestly, you can move with that, right? Like, as in, that's exactly what I did, right? So, and don't listen to anyone who says you can't. You're talking shit, because I did it, right? Story, and then let's go ahead and render it out. So here I'm going to say, let's render out a story card component, okay? Now, from this, I'm going to go ahead and pass through some props. So the name, source, and profile I'm passing through, and these will be correlating to the name, source, and profile here. So the prop will be mapped like this, right? So it's basically going to be, the name will be story name, like so, and this will correlate to that. Okay. So now the story card component, right? This is going to like basically represent this. Okay. So these story card components, let's go ahead and create. So storycard.js, and then I'm going to do underscore RFCE. Right, this is definitely one of the more of the advanced builds, I think, right? Damien says no such thing as can't, right? React is easy, 800 likes and subscribe. React to future, hell yeah, dude. Right, so now with the story card, thank you so much, Nishant. Please make a video on lazy loading infinite. We're actually using lazy loading right now, dude. Infinity scrolling, we can definitely do that one. Right, the story card came through with some props, right? I know, dude, we have a crazy amount of likes. It's insane. Honestly, that's Papa Fan, man. Name, source, and profile. Okay, so let's pick up the energy. You know, let's do this, guys. Let's change the sound a bit, right? Let's do this. So here I'm gonna have, for the story card, I'm gonna have two things. I'm gonna have an image, which is gonna represent this image. Then I'm gonna have a little circle image at the top, and then I'm gonna have a p tag. Okay, so 3 things to chuck in, right? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and say image. I'm going to pop in 2 image tags, and I'll show you exactly what we do with these things, okay? We're nearly at 800 likes. Let's push, guys. Let's keep going. I'm going to go ahead and import my image tag at the top, and I'll explain exactly where I'm getting this information from. All right. Okay, so you can see here what we're doing is we need to make firstly the class name relative. That's just the first basic thing I need to do, relative. Okay, so I'm gonna make the image here come through, right? Now this image right here is gonna be absolute position, opacity of 0, unless we get onto a bigger screen. Now I'll show you what that means. It means that these little circles on the bigger screens are there, but on the smaller screens by default are opacity 0. So you see how the small little circle is not there? The bigger circle has become that shape, but the small circle is not there. Okay, so that's what we did. Rounded full Z of 50, so it comes on top of the image and top 50, which means push it top down 50 points, right? And we've got this. Let's just go ahead and pop this on right now so we can actually see some stuff happening. Right, so story card, are we actually pulling this in? No, we're not. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So we've got stories. All right. Papa, keep your tutorials going for the React community. Hell yeah, dude, I'm not stopping. This is tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is today. The day we've had has been tough. Like, but we just don't stop. Right? That's the way. We just do not stop. We just keep moving. All right. So we're gonna make this relative. And you can see right now we've got some weird Buki stuff happening right now. Okay. So I'm gonna say we render that on the screen, and then I'm gonna say a height and width of 14. Okay. So each story card needs a set size. So I'm gonna say height of 14, width of 14. Let's see. Are we seeing anything yet? No. Okay, maybe. Yep, no. And this is because... Right, let's double check. Feed. Okay, we're not actually pulling in the stories. Wow, okay, this goes up levels. So I need to go ahead and import my stories, right? So next thing I'm going to do is pop open. Let's try and... I like this song. This one's good. This reminds me of when we started the Papa Fam. That's it. Think of Rome. Rome was not built in a day. Hell yeah, dude. And that's why we just keep going. Literally, we're at 2 hours and we're just going to keep going. I'm just not going to stop until it's finished. All right. So feed.js. And I even tried to shoot this like afterwards on a recording. I just couldn't do it. I needed the energy from the Papa Fam. Right, so we're gonna go ahead and do this and save, and now we should see the stories pop in. Wait for it. So we've got the stories here. We're mapping through the story, and then we see this kind of come through. Now when we do this, we do need a key. In this case, I'm gonna say story dot, this is a bad one, but story dot source, that's okay. Okay, we're still not seeing what we need to see. Will this have a chat system? It will have a real-time functionality when we're pushing it in. Your Facebook company, maybe you win a hackathon. Wow, that's amazing, dude. Story card. Okay, we've got the story source, name, everything here that we need. Let's see what's happening on the server. Okay, so everything seems to be okay on the server. So something strange is happening here, guys, with the actual component, the actual app itself. Okay, so right now we've got, let's have a look. Let's go into our stories here, and we've got justify sentence SpaceX. Okay, MX Auto, and then if we go up to feed, on the feed, okay, this is where the issue was. All right. My bad, right? So for the feed, we need to give it some sizing, okay? Otherwise, it's not gonna have no space to grow. So I'm gonna say flex grow. So use up as much space as you want in your flex container. Okay, that's the first point of rule. And then we're gonna say, give it the height of the screen. Okay, so we're gonna stretch that down to the height of the screen. And this will go ahead and actually go, so we've got the feed. Okay, height of screen, PB of 44, padding bottom, padding top of 6. And let's just double check. Am I even seeing that? Let's just do hello. Okay. I'm actually going to restart the server because it looks like the app is bugging out big time, guys. Right, so let's go ahead and actually pull out my server, cut the server, and then let's go ahead and do yarn run dev one more time. Let's cut this off again properly till we get, oh, there we go. Nice. Yarn run dev. We don't quit. And guys, what I want to show you, right, and I hope this is showing you something that, like, it doesn't always go smooth, right? Like no build ever goes smooth. Sure, I was coding in this, like, and it was, you know, it wasn't so slow because we're live right now. It's a bit more trickier, but if you get stuck, don't let it knock you out. Don't think you're a crap developer and all that stuff, right? This happens, right? It happens. You have to debug. This is part of debugging, and this is why I love to do live videos, because you get to see something goes wrong. You get to see it, right? So that's why we're not going to quit. We're just going to keep on going, right? You're not going to see me kind of cry about this. We're just going to fix it, move forward, and get past it, okay? So right now, localhost 3000. I mean, I would appreciate if that would just finally work, because that one is super annoying, right? So flex grow, index. Let's have a look. We've got the index here. Now let's work from the top down, okay? So we've got the index here, we've got height screen, we've got BG gray. Now let me just refresh the page and see, are we actually getting what we're looking for? Because in this case, it says that we built it, but I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. If I was to log out, log in, sign in. Okay, so it is building our page out. That's fine. Okay. Strange. Honestly, crazy. Right. We got the header. Maybe it's the main. Maybe it's this, because I was using a div. No, but I don't think there should be any difference. No, there shouldn't be a difference. That's fine. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and hit the sidebar again. Feed is not defined. Oh my God, are you kidding me? It wasn't even rent. Wow, that was. See, that's how you know the computer's bloody dying, guys. Damn. See, Damien says we are all learning. Check the feed. I guess you forgot. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. You forgot the import. But I mean, oh yeah, okay. That's still pretty good. Right, so we got Elon. Right, I'm still happy to see something. Right, so we've got some Bill Gates in the house, right? So let's go ahead and check that out. So obviously the ideal scenario is to not be flooded with a face that big, right? So we're gonna go actually to the story card, and I'm gonna set loads of rules here, right? So I'm gonna say, okay, height and width of 14, fair enough. But when I hit the medium, sort of larger screens, I want to change it to a height of 20, right? When I hit the medium screen, I'm gonna change to a width of 20, right? When we have a large screen, I'm gonna change it again, so these get a little bit more of an upgrade. These are the story card, yes. And then when it cursor pointer overflow on the x-axis, padding of 3, and then I'm gonna apply some nice little hover effects. So if I go ahead and pop these on right now, so let's go ahead and pop this in there, hit save. And the reason why this is most likely happening now is the container that it's in, okay? So this is most likely the container that we are surrounding it in, okay? So if we go to our stories now, okay? And then we're mapping through, we have the keys here, everything is being put in. Let's have a look at the stories. Flex, justify center space X more 3, okay, cool. And then we go back to the index. Pop it back on track, hell yeah, dude. Index. Where is all of my stuff gone? Okay, there we go. Man, I'm fighting it today. Right. And then we go back to index. Okay. So we've got the feed, which comes through here. We've got the feed. Hi, Sunny. 5 more. Oh, 5 more. And then we're hitting what, guys? Go ahead and shout out. Okay, feed. This is where it is. Nice. We are back. We are back. We are back. Okay. So height of screen, padding top. And then here we're going to change the margin right. Okay, margin right needs to go to 4. On the extra large screens, it's going to be a margin right of 40. And then I'm going to do overflow Y auto, right? And I want it to be a scroll bar hide. So I will hide the scroll bar, I'll show you how to do that afterwards. And then for the div, which is holding everything, I'm going to do the following. Okay, so this is actually very important now. So for this one, this is going to hold all the stories and all that stuff. I'm going to say class name equals, I'm going to say margin X auto, so it will center itself, max width MD. Okay, so that's going to do that for us now. Oh, okay. I know why this is happening. All right, in stories, we've got the story card, but the story card is most likely not relative to its parent. So let's double check story card. We've got absolute opacity. Okay, so we've got the object cover, filter, brightness. Right. We've got hover, animate, posts, duration, transition. I'm going to go ahead and copy all of my classes, guys, over here to this one. Okay. And this will actually add in the sort of, you know, we should see an animate effect. Okay, so this is definitely like something strange is happening right now. We got some some irritating bug right now on the page, which I'm trying to figure out. Where is it coming from? Let's do an inspect and figure this one out. 800 likes. Let's go, guys. Nice. 900 now. Sonny's creating a multi-billion pound website. Well done, Sonny. Thank you, guys. All right, so you see this right here is bloody huge, right? Now, we've got all of these individuals, and then we've got the actual component itself, which is flexed out. Okay, and then we've got the main. Okay, so height of screen. Something small has broken this, and it is really messing things up. Okay, let's just start from a scratch point. So feed. Okay. Let's just focus now. Let's focus now. All right. Let's have a proper check for this. All right. So we're gonna go into our feed. Let's have a look. Feed, and I'm gonna check my feed, and I've got posts available. Okay. Flex scroll, height screen, PB. Yep, we're all doing that. PT. Everything's good. Margin right. Overflow white auto. Cool. Everything's good on that front. The input box, everything, it should be underneath this afterwards. Now for the stories, in saturation, patience. Yeah, honestly, it is about patience, guys. Let's just chuck a H1 in and see if what I'm seeing here. H1 testing. I want to see something here. So if I chuck in testing here, okay. So we can see now that it's rendering out our stories.map. And this is, where's my stories gone? Stories.map and the story card. Okay, so we've got the testing here. Okay, now let's go ahead into here. We've got flex justify. We are still here. Hell yeah, dude. Okay, this is good. And then let's go down into story card. Okay, story card. And then for story card, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly replace this and see if I've made a small mistake here besides. So look, top 0 object fit cover. No, we're good. That's just the P tag difference. This would say Bill Gates somewhere here. Okay. Oh my God. Super frustrating. What is happening here? Let me go ahead and just remove the image for now and double check something. Okay, so you see this, guys. We are seeing the correct values being dropped in here, right? Now, the issue is not to do with feed contact. It's super hard to debug when the flex and flex grow for feed. Flex and flex grow for feed. No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be because I've changed that. It's not flex there. Index is a flex box. We have our flex grow here. Everything happening the way we wanted it to. Mind challenging coding. Need a break, Sonny. It's because the computer is super slow. Header. Super frustrating though, because this is blocking me from continuing on right now. Now I do want to check one thing. I do want to check my header component is fully the way that I need it. So let me go ahead and double check this. Hit save. Okay, so there's a slight variant on my header, and this is simply just for the side part here. Okay, that's fine. So what I will do is I will replace that with the final one that's found in the code on GitHub repo. That's fine. Now the top, so let's ignore the header for now. Don't burn out. No, we won't burn out, dude. We're good. Tailwind's not confusing, guys. It's because it's because we're doing a a tutorial, and right now there's a super damn strange issue that's killing us right now. Right, so we've got the home, then we've got the app. We haven't got any styling over here, and inside of globals we don't have any additional styling. Nope. And we don't have any additional styles anywhere. Okay, nope. This entire bottom section is weird, right? Something is messed up in this entire bottom section. We've got the flex, index, main class name flex, sidebar is rendering out here. And even the sidebar is being all booky, right? So we've got this. All right, let's go to our feed. Let's actually fix the damn original thing as well, the sidebar, because this is most likely an issue as well that we're not facing, that we need to be fixing. Let's check it out. So sidebar.js. Okay, let's have a look. So we got the max width on the sidebar. Let's have a look at my index. We got the head, the main, the widgets, feed, main, okay, h-frame, PG, gray, overflow hidden, okay, all good there. And then we've got the, let's go into my sidebar. This is a raw debugging session, guys. You guys are seeing. Sidebar, title. Now I need to see if it's actually rendering at all the component that I'm looking for here. So we've got the image, but next to our image, we have a p tag, which just does not want to be seen. I think honestly I'm pretty sure this is acting out. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, guys. Let's check. Let's close this. Let's close this. Let's create a new terminal and let's do a fresh run. Yarn run dev. Drink some water, Sonny. Yeah, I think I need to, guys. Right. We can do this. We can do this. CSS max width is not working. Yeah, let's double check that one as well while we're out. See, even there, my JIT, nothing is, my tailwind is not come through. See, tailwind is no longer actually being. So we should have got a tailwind warning here, which is again super strange, which makes me think the square brackets. Do you know what? That's actually not a bad shout. It's not actually a bad shout. But right now, guys, I'm telling you, it's definitely to do with it's 100% to do with my terminal not picking up what it should be picking up. Let's do it again. It should be picking up the just-in-time compiler, but it doesn't seem to be picking up any compiler at the moment. Right. Nope, nothing. All right, let's save tailwind win config. Does it reload? Oh shit. I think that was it, dude. If that works, oh my god. Oh my god. Who is that? Who is that? Byte89. Byte89. That is what I'm talking about, dude. That's ridiculous. Did I not save the file? Okay, guys, that's just like crazy. So okay, I want to explain that one out, right? The whole issue there was honestly that the tailwind wasn't kicking in, right? So we were doing so many, we were doing so many of the class names correct, but the damn tailwind wasn't kicking in. God damn it, guys. But look, we made it. Good stuff. Byte89, dude, you are a legend. That was a shout. Nice one, dude. So now we go back to our stories and let's kill it. All right, let's just crush this now. All right, so in feed, we can go ahead and pop in the stories. Okay, we have our stories here. So this is looking amazing now. Okay, nice. Boom. Let's do this. Sidebar. Right. We've got our min max width. Okay, awesome. Let's just check the mobile response. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. But what was blowing my mind is that this wasn't breaking. Like crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But you guys saw it. That's a proper debugging session. We should have got all like intense with that, with the sort of, you know, let's make it a bit more intense while we kind of, you know, we get this bit set up. Let's get into that little coding state right now. Wow, this has been a fun session. Different to how we've done it before. Let's get back on track, guys. Smash the thumbs up button if you're enjoying it, because that was honestly wow. And we are at 825 likes. Let's get to 900. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, so feed. Let's go to our index. Let's go to our feed and let's pop this in and wait for it. There we are. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Everything was working. Just crazy, isn't it? Let's go to stories and let's get rid of the H1. And now we should be able to see on a big screen. Look at that. On a big screen, it works, even with the animations. Amazing. All right. Aldo, what's up, dude? Aldo is one of our amazing members inside the Papa Fam. So you guys can see this, right? Looking good. Okay, looking amazing. That was a crazy debugging session. Wow. All right. Holy crap. All right. So we got the story cards working, and the next section is the input box. Okay. The amount of things we've had to fight today is crazy. All right. Input box. Let's do this. So you see how marking things out can help you? Input box. All right. Now we're going to ramp up the speed. All right. See how easy it is? Yeah, exactly, right? See, it is actually pretty simple. It's just because we, the bloody tailwind wasn't loading. But anyway, back to positive vibes. Let's go ahead and get this one. Gabriel, let's go. I just joined, but looking really nice. Show Sonny your support. Thank you so much, dude. Gabriel came in clutch with the $20 donation. Appreciate you, man. Right, let's go ahead and let's pick this up now. Right, so we got the input box. Now we're going to do the input box here. Input box. And then we're going to hit save. Go to our input box. Nice. And inside of our input box, let's go ahead and build. Now, the input box is actually a very interesting part, right? This is where Firebase kicks in. This is where we've got the real-time DB, all that good stuff. Right, Just Take, what's up? Coffee on me, bro. Just finished an IELTS exam. Catching up on this build now. Love this project. Thank you, dude. What's up, man? We just went for a crazy debugging session. So yeah, good luck with that, man. When you catch up to it. Okay, let's go ahead. So for the input box, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have so the input box that we're building now, guys, is this one right here. Right, so it says what's going on and all this information. Right, so we're going to go ahead and build this one out. So first thing we need to do, right, is we need to build out the top half, right? So the top half is going to be its own little div, right? And this top half that I'm referring to is this half here, right? So the half at the top, so one with the image and the input field. Okay. Now the image is going to pull in the image from the session user image. We know how we got that from Nextdoor. Okay. So I'm going to come in here, pop this in like so. Let's go ahead and chuck this in. There we go, image. I go to the top, I import my next image as we need to. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So we pop in our next image like so, hit save, and then we need to get the session. Now we don't have the session at the moment, so I need to go ahead and get my session. So session, I'm gonna go ahead and say const session equals use session, and go ahead and import like so, okay, boom. Okay, now you can see the picture comes through. Nice. And that's actually the logged in session. So that's the logged in person session. Okay. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we've got the image coming in. So we're going to go ahead and add in a form next. Okay. So the form is going to be very important because it's what's going to allow us to actually have the enter button and then, you know, submit the text to make a post and all that good stuff. Okay. So here I'm going to say form, and this is going to be class name, and this is going to be flex and flex one because I want this to use up the majority of the room here, like so. Okay. So what we do is inside there, I'm going to have an input and a button. So the little trick here. So when you have the input field, this one's going to actually say, you know, like, what are you working on, or what is it? No, not what you're working on. It's going to say, what's on your mind, right? And it's going to have the person's name. So nice little sort of personal touch there, right? So here we'll say placeholder equals, and then we'll have our JSX, so backticks. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have what's on your mind. Okay, and then here I'm going to have session.user.name. Hit save. Nice. Cool. So this is looking good. And then obviously it doesn't look the greatest right now, but we'll get it to the point where it needs to get to. So this container out here, we're going to go ahead and say nothing is impossible with the problem. Exactly. And I want to honestly like really push that point, right? Because like, look how we can overcome all these crazy issues, right? Together as a team. It doesn't stop. That's what Zero to Full Stack Hero is all about, right? So we got flex space 4 P4 item center. As soon as I hit save, you'll see this come into a line. Nice. Looks a lot nicer with that. Then we're going to style the input field. Okay. So the class name here, let's go ahead and say class name. How many likes are we at, guys? Let me know. Let's go ahead and say class name and say rounded full. Okay. Rounded full H12 BG gray 100 flex grow px5, which means padding on the x-axis 5, and then when I click it, I don't want that outline ring, the blue outline ring, so I say outline none. Hit save, and boom, we get this. Okay, so that's looking a lot nicer. Now, how do we get the nice little ring around it? Okay, so the background sort of, you know, how do we get it to look like this, right? So that's actually the parent here, right? This is actually, thank you. Oh, what's up, Serene Cowden? Thank you, Jay Sean. Gotta leave now. Thank you for the content. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you so much, dude. I love that. Jay Sean, coding Jay Sean. So I'm gonna say class name. 3 to go. That's awesome, guys. Let's keep on pushing. We're 840 likes and growing. Let's hit 900. Okay. So now what we're gonna do for the outside containers, say BG white, right? And I'll save it as we go, so that way you guys can see what's going on. BG white, padding of 2. So you can see, look, padding of 2, rounded 2XL, right? Rounded 2XL, shadow MD, text gray 500, oops, text gray 500, and then I'm gonna say font medium and margin top of 6, right? 900 like go, hell yeah, dude. Look at that, look how nice that looks with the little drop shadow. Like immediately, look at this, we're starting to create a really nice app, right? And then we forgot one serious important point, question mark. Adds all this sort of dynamic to your app, right? Like what's on your mind, right? It makes a difference, right? So here we have got the input, and then we're gonna have a button, but the button here, we're not actually gonna show, right? So I'm not actually gonna say we can say submit now and you'll see a button come in, but I don't wanna show that button, right? So here I'll say hidden, yeah? And then on click, right? So this is actually gonna be an on click. And when we do this, I'm going to trigger off a function called send the post. Okay. So if you've got a form and then you have a button inside of it, right? If we do type submit, right? This will be basically when we hit the enter key, it will go ahead and actually submit the button, right? Which means it will click, right? So this will actually go ahead and we type in, hit enter, and then boom, it sends a post. So I'm going to go ahead and create like a sort of an empty function here called send post. And this will have an event attached to it. And basically when we hit enter, I'll show you what happens. Look at this. So if I go ahead and type in something and hit enter, enter, you see how it refreshed the page, right? So we don't want to do that, right? So the way we prevent that is we say e.prevent default behavior. So e.prevent default, like so, okay? Damien says, this is interesting. Hell yeah, dude. It gets like, it's very interesting. Honestly, I find when things get stuck, I actually find that really interesting to watch. So if somebody else was kind of, you know, coding out and stuff like that, I'd find that pretty cool. All right. Damien, thank you, dude. Appreciate it, man. All right. So now we've got this, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, we got the button there. So the next thing to do now is I'm going to go ahead and have the buttons underneath it. So these ones, live video, photo video, and filling activity. Guys, just to mention, I am going to have image uploading on this build. Okay, so we are going to actually cover that as well. So yeah, honestly, it's a marathon. I'm telling you, it's a damn marathon. All right. I just love seeing this guy code. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Team Production. I saw you join the course, I think. Let me know if you did, right? Right, so we're going to need some icons. So I'm going to go ahead and import them right now. We're going to need 3. And I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to chuck it over here. All right, so emoji, happy icon, camera icon, video camera icon. They're the things I need. And then I've got my closing div here. And now underneath that closing div, yeah, he did. Yeah, nice, dude. So we're going to go here and now I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, so inside of here, I'm actually going to have 3 things. Okay. So I'm going to have 3 different parts. I'm going to have live video, photo video, filling activity. Okay. So inside of this div, I'm going to have a div here, and I'm going to have 3 divs. Right? I'm going to have a div for the first one. I'm going to have a div for the second one. And then I'm going to have a div for the third one. Okay. And don't excuse my spacing. Okay. Dude, you're so awesome. Thank you so much, Coding Cleverly. Appreciate it. Victor. Oh, from Africa. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. How do you do all these YouTube and everything? Yeah, man. It's tough, but we keep going. Abgoy says, yeah, I've joined the course. Hey, amazing, dude. Welcome to the Pop Fam. All right, so now I'm going to have 4. We've got these sort of, you know, these divs inside of it. And each one is going to have a paragraph text and the icon. Now I'm going to go ahead and paste these in and I'll explain the values, okay? So the first one, we're going to see a video camera icon with a height of 7. The text is red 500. And then we've got a P tag with the text is extra small, so that correlates to font size. And then we're going to say after the small screen, so when it gets bigger screens, we're going to change it to a text of sort of small, which is actually pretty big. And then on the bigger screens, text base, which is actually a bigger than small size. Okay, so I'm going to do that passing through to the third one as well. And there's a reason why the middle one's a little bit more complicated, but I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so we're going to have the happy icon. Okay, so we've got the happy icon as well, and that one's going to be yellow. And so you see, like, we're basically building out these one, right? Who's coding while watching this? Oh yeah, let me know, guys. Let me know. All right. So the final one is actually going to be this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop in this one here. Okay, so camera icon, text green, and it's the same principle. Okay. Now, how do I get this to look a bit more nicer? I'm going to basically go ahead and make this a flex box with justifying it evenly so they get like an even spacing. Right, so justify evenly. Give it a padding of 3 and a border top, okay? And then let's go ahead and hit that. So wait for it. There we go. Looking nice, okay? And then what we want to do is for each of these classes, right? So, each of these divs, I'm going to basically make a custom class, right? So I'm going to say, let's just call it input icon. Okay. So we're going to say input icon. Now for input icon, I want to make a custom sort of utility class. So I'm going to go to globals and I'm going to say dot input icon, right? And then to write some tailwind, I need to say @apply. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to go ahead and start this out. So these icons are going to they're going to be flexed. Right, so you guys are going to start seeing these things come into play. So it's going to be flex, so it'll drop onto a line. We're going to center it, so item center. So item center, you'll see everything, the text come into the center. I want to space them, so space on the x-axis of 1. You'll see the text shift a little bit away from the icon. And then when I hover over them, I want the BG, so the background, to go to a gray of 100. I love saying that, BG. And then flex grow, I want them to each grow like if they have the space, so that way it will actually take up the entire container. I want to justify them so they're in the center of the element. Padding of 2, I want to make them a bit bigger, right? So if I don't have padding of 2, you see this like that. If I give it a padding of 2, it becomes that, right? Which is nicer, right? So padding of 2. And And then we're going to go ahead and say rounded XL, and then we're going to say cursor pointer. And then now, bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. Awesome. Looks clean, right? So welcome back, Sonny. Pharaoh Dev, what's up, man? Right. Let me go ahead and check something out. 1 second, guys. How many likes are we at right now? I think we are going crazy. I think we're at 870. God, let's go. I really want to hit 1,000 just for the tech issues that we had today. I have to. I feel like we have to hit 1,000, right? Let's keep going. So we've got this happening, right? So these three things. Now I want to have it so you type in hello, enter, and then we send a message to Firebase. So at this point, let's set up Firebase, okay? So just need to know the fundamentals. Amazing stuff, man. So is this good practice with work without classes? Yes. Right. So now I'm gonna go ahead. What can we do to see these? What can we do to see these amazing streams every week? I will try my best, man. I was up till 2 o'clock last night coding, so crazy. Firebase.google.com is where you want to go to next. Now we're going to set up Firebase. Firebase is a suite of tools provided by Google. They allow us to have a real-time DB and authentication and other stuff. But we're not using the authentication today. We're just using the DB. So I'm going to click Go to Console. All you need is a Gmail account, okay? And then you're going to go to Add Project. Once you've done that, we're going to type in Facebook and I'm going to do YouTube, okay? Then we're going to hit continue. I'm not going to enable Google Analytics, create project. Simax. I will try, man. Are you going to do the messages from Facebook as well? So the posts that you can do, so these posts are actually real-time posts, okay? So we'll have the real-time posts behind it. And guys, if you haven't already, first link in the description, sign up for the Full Stack Developer 5-day secret challenge, okay? So join it, right? And let me know if you joined it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue through. Now what we need is the configuration. Okay, so we're going to go to this little cog, project settings. I need to connect my Next.js app up to Firebase. So I'm going to click on this and type in Facebook to YouTube. Okay, and then we're not going to host it, so register the app. What extension do you use to inspect Tailwind classes? That's actually a very good question. Just type in Tailwind CSS in the extensions and it will come up. It will be the first one that comes up. And dude, that is amazingly important to have. Okay, so very important to have that. It's actually this one right here. I'll show you. So it's actually, where is it going? Oh no. Okay, freeze. Tailwind CSS. You need that. Honestly, it's a huge must if you're doing Tailwind CSS. Okay, so make sure you add that in. Next.js plus Firebase. Dude, we're doing everything plus next auth as well. Right, so I'm going to grab the config, copy this, and now I'm going to go to my build and then follow me now. Follow me, okay? We're going to go ahead and do Command J. I'm going to open up a second node sort of thing. So I'm going to say split ZSH. I don't know. That's a new sort of UI on. I'm using the beta version, so it's fine. But here, basically, go ahead and say yarn add Firebase. Right now, while that's installing, I'm going to go ahead and go to my files. And I'm going to go ahead and do the following. I'm going to go to my next.config.js level and I'm going to type in hit a new file and firebase.js. Okay. Now inside of here, I'm going to paste that config that I had earlier. I'm going to import Firebase from Firebase. Okay. Now, 25 away, dude. So close. Let's go. Nearly at 900 likes. That's incredible. I love you guys. All right. And then what we also need to do is we will be using Firebase storage today, okay? So in order to use it, you do have to explicitly say that you're going to use it. So we're going to do that, right? It's what I've always needed. Might have to look at insiders. Terminal splitting you could do on the old one, Gabriel, as well. It's the little sort of window icon. You just click that and then it works. I literally always code like this with two terminals. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize my app, okay? So I'm going to say const app equals, and this one's important, right? You need to check if you've already initialized it because we're doing server-side rendering, which means there could be edge cases where we've already rendered it on the server and then we try and render it again. So here we say if the number of apps initialized is like, you know, if there is none because we've got the bang here, then we say Firebase.initialize app. So Firebase.initialize app, okay? And then what I do is I pass in the Firebase config, okay? Now, if it's not, then I say Firebase use the existing app. So Firebase.app, Okay, so that'll use the existing one that was initialized. Once you've done that, I'm going to get access to the real-time DB. Okay, well, we're going to be using Firestore, sorry. So I'm going to click on Firestore, and I'm going to quickly set up a Firestore database. Now, Firestore database is actually a NoSQL sort of supercharged DB. Okay, so we're going to start in test mode, and then we're going to go ahead and click on enable. Okay. Now, with that bit done, what we're going to do is we're going to do const db equals, oops, nope, go back, come on. Right, const db equals app.firestore. Okay, now this will go ahead and actually set up the sort of our connection to Firestore. And then what we're going to say is const auth equals, oh no, we're not going to use authentication today. We're not going to use authentication. We're going to use a storage instead, sorry. We're going to use storage. We're already using next auth for authentication. We'll say firebase.storage. Okay. And then we'll do this. And then I'll say export auth db and storage. Okay. And we'll hit save. Nice. Valentio says, that is so sick. Exactly, dude. Damn, something with a fresh cut. Yeah, man. You know how we do it. We got to stay fresh while we're doing these hour-long streams. Oh, we're not using auth. Sorry, I don't need that. Okay, hit save. Cool. So now we've prepared everything, right? So the goal is that we have posts in here, and then these are going to resemble all the posts, and then each post will have the information inside of it that's going to basically, that we're going to need. Now we are going to make use of storage, because what we're going to do is we're going to have functionality inside the app where you can go ahead and type in hello world, for example, click on photo and video, and then what we're going to do is if you click this, it will actually come up here as in we've actually attached a photo to the post, and then when you hit enter, it will go ahead and submit that, right? Now, the reason why I'm not going to show that is because I have locked the database. Otherwise, the test one's going to get spammed. So if I try to submit that now, it wouldn't work. Otherwise, sunnysanga.com will get all sorts of stuff all over it, right? And that's not something we want. So I'll show you how to do it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go inside of our app. Okay, we're going to pull up our sort of application so we can see it. Nice. And then we're going to go back to our input, right? So our input box. Now, this is where a lot of the logic comes in. So if you're feeling tired, wake up, right? So now what we're going to do inside of our input box is go ahead and implement the functionality to go ahead and post something to the DB, okay? So first thing we need to do is I want to just post simple messages. That's the first part, right? What's up, Thomas Campos? Hey, everybody. Hey, Sunny. What's up, man? So first thing I need to do is I need to get the text from this field. How do I do that, right? So what I do is I use something called a reference. Now, you can use state, but reference is more efficient. So we're going to say const input ref. And here I'll say use ref. And I'm going to initialize it with a value of no to begin with, okay? Now, we do need to import use ref from... there we go, from React, and I'm going to go ahead and copy my input ref. This is going to reference, imagine like a big finger that's pointing towards the input reference, right? So I'm going to copy that, go to my input field where it says what's on your mind, and I'll type in ref and I attach it. So now I've got a reference to that input field if I ever need to get the value. Okay. Bishop says, why don't you use class-based components? They're old, dude. You shouldn't be using them. You should be using functional. You should maybe know how to use them, but they're not the way forward if you want to go ahead and, you know, become a modern web dev, right? So now what we're going to do is I'm going to first block someone. If so, we shouldn't allow someone to send a post if the value of the entry field is empty. So the way we do that, we say if the input ref dot current, wherever it's pointing at, dot value. So if right now it's empty, it will just return out of the send post. It won't do anything after that, right? But if we do have a value in there, it will continue on, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get our DB object. So I'm going to pull that in from our local Firebase file. Then I'm going to say db.collection. And remember I said a collection of posts is where we're going to push the message to, okay? So now I'm going to say add a message to that post, okay? Simple, pretty simple, right? And then what I need to do is I need to push in a bunch of things. So firstly, I'm going to push a message in. This is going to be the input ref.current.value. Okay. So remember, this is going to be whatever the user's typed in here. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say the name. So what is the name of the person? That's going to come from session.user.name. Okay, so we're going to get the name like that. Then we need the email because it's always handy to have. So session.user.email. Then we're going to have image, and that's going to be session.user.image. And then we're going to have timestamp. Okay, so timestamp. Now, timestamp is going to be an interesting one. So in order to get a timestamp, which means that my timestamp is the same as Damien's timestamp or is the same as Valencio's timestamp, right? So it doesn't matter where we are in the world, it's just the same timestamp. We're going to use the one that's where the database is actually located, right? So what we do is we say firebase.firestore dot field value, right? Field value dot server timestamp, and this gives us the server's timestamp. Okay, so this means that it will go ahead and add in the post to the database, right? Which is clean, right? It looks really nice. Okay, so when we do that now, right, if I was to go ahead and then after that say input current value empty, right? So we want to empty it out afterwards, so that way it kind of clears the input after we send it. Let's see if that works, right? Let's actually see if that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Firebase on the right hand side, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and sort of, you know, push a message in. So I'm going to say hello world, right? So I'm going to say hello world, and I'm going to hit enter, right? So it cleared. And if I go ahead and refresh Firestore, whoa, Damien, 900, is it 900 yet? No, we can't be at 900 yet. Damn, we're 2 away. That's incredible. How about to make a real-time call? Oh, we need to do that. Look at this, guys. Check this out. Look, it posts a message, right? Now, check this out. If I say in, what's up, Papa Fam? What's up, Papa Fam? Enter. We should see some real-time functionality here. So let me go ahead and see if it's popped up. There we go. Look at that, guys. Popped in straight. What's up, Papa Fam? Nice. Valencio, there we go. 900. That's on. Thank you so much, guys. That's incredible. We've had so many tech issues and fights that we've had with the, you know, slow computer and network issues, and you guys have been incredible. I think the final goal now is to get to 1K, right? So we've got quite a lot left to build. Let's keep pushing and let's get to 1K, right? We've got image upload functionality left. So as you can see, we've got some data being pushed into the database, right? So my proposition now is let's go ahead and implement the upload functionality, right? Then we can render out the message, the sort of, you know, the rest of the posts. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go 1K, Ian. That's it, man. Let's do this. I hope you signed up to the challenge, dude. Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and implement that functionality. Okay. So the way that we do this now is a bit more interesting, right? So we need to go ahead and connect to our Firebases. We need to use the web file picker API. And we need to go ahead and push to a Firebase storage. How do we do that, right? So let's go ahead and break it down. So the way we do it is we simply go ahead and we need to go ahead and actually have a hidden input field, right? So it's actually very clever how this works. So where we have the camera icon, so right here, what we do is we actually have an input field, but this one is hidden, right? So this is actually, the type of input is a file. So it's actually a file picker, but we hide it. Okay, now this has a few different functions. It has an on change, which means when you select a file, it's going to trigger off a function. So in this case, we're going to have some kind of function called add image to post, because whenever you select a file, like a picture, it should add it to your post, right? So we're going to go ahead and create a function for this, right? What's up, Esk Official? Nice to see you, dude. And then here I'm going to say const, and then we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, nice. And then this will come with an event as well. Yep. Okay, nice. Now what we're going to do, this guy is something else. You're a legend. Please, are you the guy answering Stack Overflow questions? I love that. I've never heard that one before, but I love that. Because I always wonder, I'm like, who is the person like who has all the answers on Stack Overflow? Right. But again, like you saw, we got stuck today. We just continue on. Like, guys, this is what it's about, right? Don't quit, right? This is why I want this is why Papa Fam is the best community in the world, right? Like for coding, because we work together. That's why I invented Zero to Full Stack Hero as a community. That's why we do what we do, right? So here I'm going to go ahead and we've got add image to post connected. And I also need a reference which points to just like the input reference, I need a reference here, which will basically, we'll call it the file picker ref, right? And I need to create that reference over here, right? So const file picker. Oh, nice. Shout out to Sunny. How are you, friend from Australia? Nice. I love to see everyone international, dude. I'm good, thank you. We're struggling today, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there, right? File picker ref, there we go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna have it so that when we add a image to the post, right? So there's a few things that we need to do right now, okay? So I need to have a bit of state inside of the application, right? I need to have a piece of state which retains that image, okay? So if I was to go ahead and pick an image, let's go ahead and say this one, for example. Let's quickly, I don't think I selected it properly. Let me go ahead and do this. I've got an edge case, right? Let's go ahead and do refresh. Say I pick the Facebook image, there we go. Yeah. So I need a piece of state that will hold on to this, right? So how do I do that? So I say const, and in React we have state. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a piece of state called, let's just call it image to post, right? This will be set image to post. And this one will be equals use state, right? And this one I'm gonna initialize it with no, all right? Now, what I want to do is when we actually add an image to the post, right? So right now I've got it so that when we click on photo video, right? So where's my photo video button? Here, okay? So what I want to do is I want to actually have it so that, where is my photo video? So here, basically when I click that div, right? This one right here, I want to simulate a click on the button for the input, the hidden one, right? Which means it will open up a file picker, right? Which is actually pretty genius when you think about that, right? Because then it's actually a very nice approach to fixing this. So you say file picker ref.current.click, right? And what this will do is it will click the hidden button with the input that opens up, you know, the sort of file capture, right? So right now we've got use state is not defined. So we need to go ahead and import our use state. So here I can go ahead and pull in my use state like so. So I'll go ahead and do import. There we go. Awesome, right? And then now what we can do is if I click it, oh, boom, nice. Look at that, right? So if I go ahead and select something, okay, nothing happens, but we get the open, it picks it up, right? Why are you not making input box show up as a modal? This we use modal. Dude, have you seen how much we've built today, right? Like this is only 2 hours, 45 minutes. That's why I'm not doing it, man, right? So it takes time to do all this stuff, right? So obviously we're just trying to get as much done, right? So I'm gonna click this, and now when we do that, it comes through this event here, right? So when I selected the file, it actually got read in there. Now, what I need to do here is actually cleverly, like smart, like there's a special API called file reader, okay? So what I need to do is I need to initialize something which can read that file. So I need to make something which can initialize that file. So it's called a file reader. And what we do is we say if, right? e.target.files. So if we selected a file, okay, so if the user selected a file, then what I say is I say reader dot, right? Thank you, Damien. I will, Simax, I'm not going to have auto break because I'm like the bladder is kind of on the edge, right? Here I'll say read as data URL. And then what I do is I pass in the file that the user selected, e.target.files, and then 0, okay? Right, so that's all good. Now what I can say is it's gonna read that file, right? And what it does is, because it's asynchronous, which means you don't know when it's gonna come back essentially, right? So what we do is we say reader on load, right? So when it loads, right, I'm gonna attach a function to it. Okay, so when it loads, and when that reader event comes back, right, I wanna do something with it. And in this case, I'm gonna update my state. So I'm gonna say set image to post as reader event dot target dot result. So what we've actually done here is we've taken the option that the users clicked, so the file they've clicked, so e.target.file. We read that as a data URL. When it comes back, it will come back as a result, which means it's basically like a base 64 encoding, right? Jimmy Wong Prom, what's up, man? Good to see you. Kickstarter, yeah, this will be uploaded afterwards. Here it is on the time 50%. Yeah, exactly. So here, there we go, right? So if we go ahead and hit save now, what this will do is it'll actually load that into our sort of, you know, our store, right? So I'm going to make a little helper function here called remove, load that into our state. So I'm going to make a new one called remove image. And the whole job of remove image is it basically just sets that image state to null again, right? So I'm going to make a helper one. And then I'm going to say set image to post, no, okay? And then do this. And guys, if you're watching, I can't stress enough, like if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like button because it helps the channel grow. And there's still 60% of people that aren't subscribed, which is crazy, right? To subscribe, right? Consistency though. Yeah, man. All right. So now what we're going to do is we've got the add image to post functionality down, right? Which means that now we technically can render this on the page somewhere, right? So where we have our submit button and where we have the form, next to it over here, I want to show a preview, right? If I've selected something, I want to show a preview of that. Michael, what's up, man? I'm so inspired by you, man. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. We're going to say, okay, if there was an image to post, right? So if something was, if something was added into our store, then I'm going to render out some UI, right? The UI I'm going to render out is a div, right? And then it's going to be an image. Now I'm going to render an image tag because it's going to be a hard coded value because it's going to be an actual base64 image, not a URL. So we're not going to use next for that. So here I'll say image.to post. And then I'm going to apply some styles to that one. So I'm going to actually go ahead and say, class name, and let's go ahead and do this. So for that image, I'm going to say it should be object contained with a height of 10. And then I'm going to say the div that we're actually going to show the image in, right? If you click it, right, I want to basically remove the image, right? So if you click that, I'm going to remove the image from the state. Otherwise, the sort of design behind it, I'm going to say it's a flex box, flex column, and this will make a lot of sense, right? And what are we flexing with? It's going to be a remove p tag. Okay, so it's just going to be a p tag that's underneath it as well. And this is going to be a small bit of red text, which is central, right? So flex column. And then here what I'm going to say is, keep with me guys, we're so close, right? Flex column. Here I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So when I kind of, hover over it, I want to have a filter that's applied. And here I'm going to say, okay, hover. I'm going to change the brightness to 110, okay? Change the brightness to 110. And I'm going to apply a transition, and make the duration 150, okay? Transform it as well. So I'm going to also do a transform. So I'm going to increase the scale when we hover by 105. So scale 105. Okay. And then I'm going to make a cursor pointer, right? So cursor pointer. So you can see it is actually incredibly powerful, right? Like what you can do with this stuff. So if we've done all that correct, right, in the first time, then what we're going to do is we're going to test it, right? So now if I go ahead and select a file, I should see a little preview pop up on the right. So if I click on Facebook, whoa, look at that, guys. Now, I don't like one thing. I don't like that my cursor pointer. Oh, that's why, cursor pointer, right? And there you go. Nice. Look at that, guys. And if I click it, boom, removes the picture. That's incredible, right? That's incredible. And we're pretty much going good. Cesar, what's up, man? He said, what's happening before? I climbed a mountain. I went to Ben Nevis and I climbed a mountain. That's why I was kind of off for a little bit. Nice to take a little bit of a break sometimes, but we're back strong now. And make sure you signed up to that challenge, dude, because we are going live and hard next on the 19th, pretty much. 928 guys, this hit to 1,000 likes. I love the blue bottle. Yeah, it's a chili bottle. They're called chili bottles. Very nice. Right. So we have the image in state. Okay. So the next step is, how do we upload the image from state to the database, right? So what I want to do is I actually want to incorporate this step in after I've successfully posted the message. So after I post the message, okay, I will get the document back that we posted the message into, okay? Then I'm going to say, okay, if there was an image to post, so if the user had selected an image, then I'm going to do some funky upload stuff, right, for the image. Right, so some kind of funky upload image stuff for the image, okay? So here I'm going to say const upload task, and bear with me on this one, right? The way that this works is we basically go ahead and I'm going to use that storage, right? And this storage came from Firebase. So we initialize the value from here. I'm subscribed from 3 accounts. I was using my PC Button Power Card. Oh man, thank you so much, dude. I'm a big fan of Samrat. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it, dude. All right, so here we're going to say storage, right? And then I'm going to say dot reference. So basically what we're doing now is we're kind of putting our hand into the sort of the storage bucket, right? So on Firebase, on Firestore, like not on Firestore, sorry, in storage, we're basically going ahead and creating a folder here called posts, right? It's going to be posts, and then it's going to basically have a similar structure to what we had before. So it'll be posts, and then I want it to be the document ID, so doc.id, okay? And now with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the string. So this is actually a pretty cool thing what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put a string, and this is actually the image to post, right? So it may be confusing because you're saying it's a string, but it's an image. So this image is actually something called a base64 encoded image, which means it's literally a bunch of letters which actually build up the image, right? So what we're going to do is we also need to include something called data URL. Now think about what I've done here. I read it in as a data URL and I'm uploading it as a data URL. So you see how the two come in hand here. Okay, we're back. Is the stream still good, guys? Please tell me the stream is still good. Valencio, the guys, are we good? I think we're good. Just refresh. I think we're still good. Wow, I'm pretty freaking out right now. I hope to God that stayed through. Oh, thank God. Wow. I was like, we came so far. Holy crap. Okay, we're good. Wow. Whew. Man, my heart jumped. My heart jumped out my chest. All right. Oh my God. Okay. Upload task. Let's keep going. Wow. Upload task. So then we're going to say, okay, when the state changed, right? So this actually comes back from the API. So basically when the state changed in any, way, like what we can do is we can actually get the progress here, but we're not interested in the progress and we'll say no. But if there was an error, I can do something with it. In this case, I'm just going to say console.log the error. So error console.error the error out. So I should be able to see it. And then the final argument is when the complete, right? So this is when it completes. Okay, so let's just say when the upload completes. There we go. Nice. Save. Wow, that scared the crap out of me, dude. All right, so now this is basically, we're going to start the upload here, and then we basically listen to the state change, and this is when the upload completes. So this is if an error happens. This is how we get the progress, but I don't want to do anything with it. And this is the complete state, okay? So what I'm going to do now is the final step is I basically go ahead and say storage dot, okay, reference. I go into the posts, right, that I previously did. But there's another way you can do it. You can either do it like this, right? So I'll show you two ways. You can either do it like this, or so you can have posts, for example, like this, or you can say .child. Okay, so there's two ways you can do that, right? I'm going to say doc.id, and then I'm going to say .get download URL. So this will give me a URL that will basically be able to download the picture from. Okay, so think about it. We're going to use that on the front end, and we're going to store that in the DB as part of the post. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to go ahead and access the, so we get the URL here. And then I'm going to go ahead and say db.collection of posts, right? So think about what I'm about to do here. We're going to go into the posts. I'm going to go into the document that we just uploaded. So just the one that the user just submitted, right? And then what I'm going to do is say set, okay? Then I'm going to pass in an object here. And I'm basically going to say the post image is set to the URL. So this will be a download URL. Now, whenever you use set, be so careful, okay? You have to include an additional option which says merge true. If you don't do that, it will literally replace it. So you'll lose all of this, like all of this stuff, and it will just say post image, right? You don't want that, right? So that's why you got to be very careful with this. Okay, so let's give this a try, right? I think we've actually pretty much done that, right? So with that said, now we should be able to upload an image. So if I go ahead and refresh, wait for it. If I go ahead and say hello world, right? And I go ahead and upload a photo video. Let's go ahead and do this, boom. And then let's go ahead and hit enter, boom, okay? So you see how it went ahead and sent the post, okay? So now if I go ahead and refresh my Firebase storage bucket, we should see it being uploaded to Firebase. So now it should be in our Firebase bucket. Let's go ahead and see. Oh, okay. Hopefully. Oh, no. Okay. The reason being rules. Here we go. The rules. Right. So if I check F12, it would have said you're not allowed. There we go. See, user does not have permission to access that post. So in this case, for now, I'm not going to go through security rules. I'm just going to say allowed read writes. Right, so I'm going to publish those rules. You're going to have to change your Firebase security rules in order to do this. And then I repeat the experiment. So let's go ahead and do the refresh. Awesome stuff, guys. Let's keep on going. And now I'm going to type, what's up, Papa Fam? What's up, Papa Fam? and I'm going to include a photo or video. And I'm going to go ahead and hit this, hit enter, and let's go ahead and refresh the Firebase storage. Oh, dude, thank you so much, Cesar. Dude, however, I saw in your last previous stream, 38,900. Yeah, man, we're growing quite fast. It's crazy, man. Thank you. If we click into posts, now look at that, guys, post. And if you click this, boom, Facebook. There we go. Lovely, right? And now what's amazing about this is this will give us a download URL. So this one would have actually enhanced whatever we had inside of Firestore, right? So inside of our Firestore DB, there would be a picture, one of them, that post image. There we go. And there you go. That is literally an image of that when I typed in what's up Papa Fam, and there's the image. So now we build the UA, right? Mike said I'm about to ejaculate, right? This build's amazing. Thank you so much, dude. Honestly, this was a really good one, like in terms of even functionality and stuff, right? 60 to go, guys. Come on, we can hit 1,000 likes, right? We are so close. Right, it scared the crap out of me. Wow, when I thought that we lost the connection. Oh my God, heart jumped down my mouth. Right, so now we can push, and you see how this is a component by itself that can do this, right? So what we're gonna do next is we move back over to the feed, right? So the next bit is to go back to the feed. Right, so we go here and we go back to our feed component, okay? And then what we do is we say, right? We go ahead and we put in the posts. Okay, so now the next step is posts, right? Now posts, what we do is we're going to go ahead and create a functional component for this. We're going to say posts.js, right? And I'm going to do underscore RFCE. Oops, underscore RFCE. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump into my post. Okay, so I need to import this from here. Posts, there we go. And I'm going to jump into posts. You can do it. Wages will be good for you to learn. Thank you, man. Yeah, Eric Holland, this is great stuff. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. Posts. Okay, so now what we're going to do, guys, is inside of posts, we're going to say, so firstly, I need to get that information that I pushed into Firebase, right? So in order to get the information in these posts, I could do the old way of doing stuff, you know what I mean? But there is a very nice hook for this, right? It's called React Firebase hooks, and this makes life so simple. Now we've already done the Firebase config, which means I can use this library and it will have a stable connection to Firebase. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do yarn add React Firebase hooks. This will give me a very nice little library that I can use. So I'll say yarn add React Firebase hooks. Now this will give me an awesome library that I can use to go ahead and pull that information in a real-time fashion, right? So at the top here, if I go ahead and import use collection from React Firebase hooks, Firestore, then what I can do is before, when I render this, I can go ahead and say const, and I get three things back. I get the real-time posts, right? So real-time posts. I get the loading state if it's ever loading, and I get an error state, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and say use collection, right? So it's a nice little hook. And then what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to basically put in the directory location here, okay? So this is basically where, you know, where are we looking inside the DB? So we need to go inside our DB. So we need to pull in our Firebase DB object. I'm going to say inside the collection of posts, right? So this makes sense now, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to order by the timestamp. So remember, I ordered by the timestamp, and I want the most recent ones to come to the top. So I'm going to say timestamp descending. Okay, nice. Right, so anyone Firebase, I can't find the URL. I'm not sure what you mean, dude. Too much challenge, duplicate a company website, any easy. Nice, dude. So here, we're going to hit save. Okay, so this will give me the real-time post now. Okay, so what we can do here, guys, is we can actually say, I'm going to basically go ahead and render out. So here I can say real-time post dot map. Okay, actually no, we're going to say real-time post array dot docs. Right, so this gives me a list of docs, and then we map through and we say, okay, for every single post, I only want to render out what? A post, right? So I'm going to render out a post component. Now this post component I'm going to create. So I'm going to go into my components, create a post.js underscore RFCE. Wait for this. Eslam, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. And then we're going to pass in a bunch of props there. Okay. So this bit is the interesting part. So inside of posts, right, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pass in all of the following values. Okay. So this is the key value pairings that you need to be considered with, right? So we've got the key, which is the post ID. And then for any of the data items inside, you have to access the data object and then the name email and so forth. And remember, this is what we pushed into Firebase not so long ago, right? So this is where this would be the post.data. So you'll be inside here and then you can get access to the information. Okay. So this will go ahead and do this. Just few spoiler for the 5 days just for us. Oh, dude, you know, see, I'll take hints, right? You guys can go ahead and throw it up. That's the curiosity factor, right? So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I don't actually need the loading and error state, so I can get rid of these for now. And then the interesting part is to actually go ahead and consume this now, okay? So inside of the post, firstly, I'm going to import my post. There we go. And then inside of the actual post element itself, or component, sorry, I'm going to go ahead and consume all of those as props, okay? So we've got the following props coming through on this side. Right, nice. Now I need to build out a post. Okay, so cannot read docs of undefined. This makes sense because there is a point in which this is actually loading, right? So it's not initially there. So we're going to do optional chaining and then we go ahead and do that. Okay, so now the posts are actually coming through. We're just not rendering anything. So if I do H1, just say a post, right? Watch this, guys. Wait for it. Hey, look at that. Smash the thumbs up button if that's pretty dope. Right, that's literally a real post, right? So that's actually a post that's coming up on the screen, right? So that's looking pretty good at this point. Guys, 960 likes, 40 likes away from 1,000. Let's keep going. So we've got a post here. Let's change the music up a bit. Right, so now we've got the post, okay? So what I'm going to do now for the post is get so the surrounding container is actually going to be a flex box. So I'm going to say class name equals flex, and it's going to be a flex column, right? And then we've got the post inside, but that's not going to be what we're going to say. We're going to have another div, right? And inside of this one, I'm going to have the following. So we've got this top section over here, this top section, and then we've got this text over here, right? And then we've got the image, and then we've got this bottom banner section, okay? So a few things to consider with what we're about to do right now, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and say right now that the flex column, the div, yeah, we're going to have another div inside of here. And this div is going to have an image tag. And this image tag is going to have a source, which is going to be the image of the user. And the reason why I've done this is because we may want to go ahead and consider like we might not always know where that image is coming from. And then height of 40, okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and say class name rounded full. To be honest, you could make that a Next.js image tag. It's not the worst thing in the world, actually. Rounded full. Hit save, okay. And now you can see that the post image, so it was me who made these posts, so my face will come up, nice. And then what we're going to say is we're going to have a div, and this div is going to represent this information, so Sunny and the timestamp. Okay. Please don't spam the chat, dude. I'm no longer, yeah, this is a Papa Fam now. We don't talk about any of that stuff. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and say, we're going to have a P tag. And then here we're going to have the name. Right. So we've got the name, and then we're also going to have the timestamp. Right. So the timestamp here is interesting. So we're actually going to go ahead and do the following. We're going to say, we're gonna have a P tag, and then this, I will explain this bit of code in a sec. Hey Sunny, dude, lit, you're killing Gente, wondering where you were, man. Thank you so much, dude. I was climbing a mountain. That's the truth. All right, so here you can see like we popped in the name and the date. Now this is probably a bit of code that you might have seen in another build, but basically what this says is it takes the timestamp that we get from Firebase, it converts it. So toDate is converting it in the Firebase fashion. And then we create a new date from it, and then we convert that date to a locale string. So it's basically going to be your locale, local to you. Okay. So looking pretty good. Okay. So looking pretty decent so far. Right. So I need to customize the name, and I'm going to say this is the class name, and this one is going to be a font medium. I don't want this to be, you know, boring and bold. So it's going to be a font medium. So a little bit more, you know, a little bit more size to it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to get this div, and I'm going to go ahead, and not this one actually, we're going to go into the outside surrounding div, and this one is a flex box. So this one is going to say flex, and it's items center, and it's space x of 2. And now you'll be able to see, look, space x of 2 gave a little bit of distancing from each of the items, okay? Now the surrounding div, this one we need to obviously style it to be white, right? So it's going to be a padding of 5, and we're going to do BG white, right? Now BG white, this is obviously going to be the post itself, right? So that looks pretty good. And then the margin top of 5 to push it away from everything else. Okay. The next thing is to do is make it a little bit round, right? Are you live on Twitch too? No, you know what? I didn't actually double stream it because of the tech issues. So I left it because I was kind of nervous about how everything was happening. Shadow SM. I will jump on it if you guys want me to though, right? So there you go. Look at that. We've got a very small shadow underneath there. It's very hard to see, but if I go ahead and make it a bit more drastic, like for example, if I do an XL, you guys can see straight off the bat, there you go, right? Very drastic shadow. If I change it to SM, we want a very subtle. Sometimes the subtle stuff does the trick. Right, now we've got the top portion of the build, right? So that bit, right? So this is rounded top. So only the tops are rounded, not the bottom, okay? So the second thing we want to do, right? We've done that first bit. So the second part is having the message, okay? So we want the message underneath. So where we had the date, right, we're going to go outside that div, and then we're going to have the actual message. This is going to be in the form of a p tag. Okay, so it's going to be a p tag with the class. We're going to say padding top of 4 because we want to pad it out a bit, and this one's going to have the actual message contents. Hit save, and now we should be see, look, what's up fam, hello world, and all this good stuff. And if I type in yo, oh, look at that, guys, nice. Real time, right? So again, there, see how things just snap together, right? So we've got the p tag coming in, we've got the div, and then after that, I want to say, okay, only if there's a post image, right? Only if there's a post image am I going to show something like that, right? So I'm going to say, if there's a post image, I want a div, right? I want a div. I do want to use an image, right? So a special image, right? So Next.js style, and then what I'm going to do is import it from Next.js, and I'm going to say, okay, the source is actually going to be the post image, right? So this is going to be the post image like this. And then we're going to say, oops, what am I doing? Post image, yes. And then the object fit cover. So that way it doesn't kind of get distorted. Object fit is cover. Man, I'm always on your project. No doubt, guys. I'm a popular platinum, guys. Join to the 0 to full stack hero. Yeah, man. Exactly. Object. And then we're going to say layout fill, and this will basically fill itself relative to the parent. So if you don't make the parent relative, that is a dangerous property. Okay, so don't use that willy-nilly, right? You have to make the class name relative on the parent, otherwise it goes ahead and gets a bit crazy. Kaya says, can we comment? Well, yeah, once I deploy it, I guess. All right, come on, we're so close to 1,000 likes, guys. Wow, this is crazy. Let's keep going. Relative, and then you have to give it a height. Okay, so here I'm going to say height of 56, and then on the medium screens I want to kind of increase that height. I want to say 96 on the medium screens. Okay, I'm going to do BG of white. Okay, so now wait for it, guys. You're going to see it. Boom, look at that. That's, I mean, it's pretty damn impressive, right? Like here, if I was to go ahead and let's just refresh and just pop a picture in and see if like he's lying, man. This is fake, right? So let's go ahead and say, yo, Papa fam, and let's go ahead and add a picture in, and let's add one from, like, let's just add one of me being super surprised, and then hit enter, right? Look how it's asynchronously gonna pop in. Wait for it, and this is lazy loaded in, right? So that's why it's not gonna be like super quick, because it's not gonna stall your app. And there you go. Nice, right? That's amazing, right? So now what we do is that will go ahead and post. So what we can do now is actually go ahead and set up the footer stuff, right? So the like, comment, share, right? So like, comment, share. I want to go ahead and set that up. Okay. So these are going to be some things underneath, right? So this is going to be the footer section of the post. So we can say footer of the post. And here we're going to have a div, and it's going to have 3 sections inside of it. Yeah. So here I'm going to go ahead and say div. We're going to have div 1, and this is going to be the first section, the div 2, and then we're going to have div 3. Okay. Nice. And then what we're going to do is inside of the sort of, let's go ahead and start the actual, the main component itself. First, it's a flex. It's justified between. And then we're going to say item center. And then we're going to say rounded bottom 2XL. Okay. Background is white. And then we're going to say shadow MD. text gray, and this is setting ourselves up for what we're about to do. Text gray at 400, and I want the border top, right? I want a border at the top. Okay, and it's not going to show anything because we don't have any contents in the children. Okay, so I'm going to need 3 icons. So I'm going to do an import from hero icons. Let's go ahead and pop these in from hero icons. So like so. Yeah, so I'm popping this in on hero icons. Nice. Hit save. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and say, there we go. We got that. And got div. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and grab the following. So each of these divs is going to have a similar structure. Okay. They're going to have, the first one is going to have a thumbs up, and then it's going to have a p tag which says like. It's going to be a small bit of text which is a regular size. Okay, so you see, look, small, regular, like. Okay, and then we're going to have a similar thing with the chat alternating icon. So this is going to be like a chat icon which says like comment, right? And then we're going to have the similar thing for the final one, which is a share. Thank you so much, Thunder. Appreciate you, dude. That's a $5 donation coming in clutch. Appreciate that, man. And then let's go ahead and pop this in. Awesome stuff, guys. 26, keep on going. God damn it, guys. We are so close. This is crazy. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and pop in 3 different class names. So we're going to say class name. So where is it gone? Class name. Okay. Class name equals. And then here I'll say input icon. So we're actually using that custom, you know, the custom one that we did earlier. Right, so if I go ahead and apply that, remember we created an input icon, which was our custom one that we did earlier, right? So that's actually going to be reused here. And then what we're going to say is that each one has rounded none, right? And I'll show you why we do this, right? We say rounded none. And then what this will do is we'll go ahead and actually, so wait a sec, let me go ahead and just double check what's happening here. We've actually set this one up already for us, so we don't actually need to do it the way I was thinking. But what I do want to do is I want to say rounded bottom left 2XL for this one, because then I want this corner to be rounded. And then for this one, I'll say rounded bottom right. And to be honest, I think I actually did it outside of it, but to be honest, it's fine. Let's just keep it in there for now. Safe proofing. Awesome stuff. Now look at that, guys. Boom. Looking clean, right? Fully bloody responsive as well, isn't it? Damien says, you're the star and worth every like. You're teaching us well, Sonny. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you. Look how cool that is, man. Like, look how clean that looks, right? Say awesome. There we go. Boom. Nice. Okay. So the next step is to get the widgets done, right? So we're so close, guys. Widgets. Right. This one's actually pretty simple, to be honest. Right, widgets. Let's go ahead and pop in the widgets, right? And if you're enjoying this, remember, smash the thumbs up button, sign up to that challenge, and subscribe. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, man, it's just like, you just give me a like, just give me a comment. That's what I'm asking for. Not comment, a subscribe, you know? Daniel Torres, what's up, man? Let's go ahead and pop in a widgets component. So we're going to create our widgets.js. And this now is responsible for this right-hand side. So we've got the contacts, where we've got Jeff, Elon, Bill, and the rest of the gang. And then that's going to be pretty much it, guys. We're almost there. And then we're going to do a little deployment, and then boom, right? So widgets. So now what we're going to do is get this up and running. So for the widgets, we are going to have, where is it gone? Feed, there we go. And then up a level, so it's not in there, it's in index. There we go. Yeah, we have server-side rendering, we have Tailwind, we have Next authentication, we have so much happening here. All right, widgets. Let's go back to widgets, and then let's go ahead and build out our widgets, guys. All right, so for the widgets, what are we gonna do, right? So we're gonna have a data set. So this is literally gonna be the contacts right now. Obviously, this can be pulled in from anywhere you want, right? So I'm just going to have a hard-coded data set. But the goal here, the reason why I've done this is that you can identify that it's actually pretty easy to replace that with a database, right? You can easily store that in a database and pull from the database and so forth, okay? We will be using TypeScript in future builds, yes, right? So widget, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and have a div So firstly, we're going to have a div for the contacts and then these 3 icons, right? So I'm going to go ahead and import those 3 icons firstly because we're going to use them. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and import those 3 icons for the top. Oh, Damien says we're coming in. We're coming into 1,000. Let me go ahead and see. Oh, we are nearly at 1,000. Let's see. 999. Let's go. 1,000 likes. I don't know how. That's incredible. From a bad stream with crashes, with everything breaking, to 1,000 likes. That's what I'm talking about. That's why the Pop Fam crushes, guys. Like, we are almost at the end of this build, and I just want to say, like, massive thank you to everyone that persevered with all of that, right? Like, you guys are absolutely unreal, right? So that's why I'm doing the 5-day challenge for you guys, because you guys deserve more. You guys constantly push me on. That's why we do it, right? That's why we do this. I don't have a horn. I don't have a da-da-da. So there you go, guys. Amazing stuff. Now let's finish strong, right? Let's completely finish strong. So we got the widgets, right? So now what we're going to do is, well, yes, the whole video will be uploaded afterwards, right? So I'm actually going to create a contact component for each one of these, right? But before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a div that has that contact information at the top, okay? Yes, I'll show you, Elias, how to implement subscription or payments. You can actually check out the Netflix build for that one. But I'm going to go ahead and pop in this little snippet here, okay? Now this is a H2, which says contacts, okay? Now also we've got the scroll bar. I'll show you how to hide that. But here we've got contacts, and then we've got a flex box with a space of 2 between the elements, right? So you can see what we're going for here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say class name flex of the above container. So they should be next to each other. I want to do justify between. So let me go ahead and jump this in. Justify between. Justify between. Lazy loading is applied wherever we have the image tag. So the actual Next.js image tag, by default, it does it out of the box. It does lazy loading and it converts it to WebP format, which means it's super optimized and it's going to be incredibly efficient compared to a PNG or JPEG. All right, hit save on that. And there you go. Look at that. Look, it's already looking pretty clean. All right. Oh my God, 39.4K subscribers. Wow. We grew like a couple of, like 600 during this stream, guys. That's crazy. Wow. And then, okay, so we got that bit. That's cool. That's looking awesome. And then what we're going to do is outside on this div, I'm going to say, okay, it's going to be hidden. So class name is going to be hidden. And so we're going to hide it normally, right? But when we hit a large screen, then I want to kind of come in with a flex, right? So only on the large screen show that part, right? And then it should be a flex column. So a flex column. And I want it to be a width of 60 when it does come in. And I want it to be padded at 2 and a margin top of 5. Okay, so now if we see as it gets bigger, boom, contacts comes in. If it's not big enough, it won't be there. Okay, now I'm going to quickly show you guys how you can hide this little scroll bar. Okay, so there's a nice little plugin called, it's actually called Tailwind Scroll Bar Hide. Okay, so all you need to do is go ahead and open up your terminal. Do the following: type in yarn add tailwind scroll bar hide, hit enter on that, and then it will go ahead and add in the package. Now you go to your tailwind config.js and you basically gonna go ahead and pop in the require field like so here, right? So you basically chuck it in like that, and then once you've done that, all we need to do now is where we want to hide that scroll bar, for example inside the feed. Okay, I think it's inside the feed that we do the hiding of the scroll bar. Yeah, so it's here. All we do is we say scroll bar hide, and watch this, and just like that, boom, scroll bar's out of the way, but the functionality is still there, right? So this is looking pretty nice, guys, right? Pretty good. And then we're gonna go ahead and you see when it gets smaller, it hides, nice. And then we're gonna just now need to add in the contacts. Okay, so we've got all these contacts. So how do I render out a contact? So I'm going to go here underneath the div and I'm going to say, okay, for the contacts, I'm going to map every single contact, right? So for every contact, Murad says, Sonny, you are the best. We will support you through all the ups and downs. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Cesar says, great developer, 1,000 likes for each video is a minimum site. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that so much. Wow, that means a lot, man. All right, so we've got the contact here. Now for each one, I'm going to render out a contact component, which obviously we don't have, so I'm going to have to create that, right? So if I go to widgets.js here, the goal now would be to render out this. So rather than having contact, I'm going to have contact with key, source, name. Okay. Now contact we need to create. So I'm going to go ahead and create the component here. So I'm going to say contact.js. And then inside of here, I'm going to say underscore RFCE. Okay, there we go. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and say, we need to style that one out. All right, and here we're going to have the source and the name. So source and the name, okay? And then once we've got that happening, what we're going to do is actually have an image tag. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in a image tag for the contact, right? So this is going to be the image tag. It's going to have a rounded circle with a cover, so it's not going to distort. It's just going to fit the image and but sort of spread out. The source is the source that we pass in, width and height 50, layout fixed, so it's not going to shrink. And then underneath that, I'm going to have a p tag with name inside of it, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to add in a little dot, okay? So for widgets, I'm going to come here and go back to our contact. And I'm going to import the contact, save, and wait for it. And there you go. Okay, so you look at that. Looks pretty good, but it doesn't look perfect yet. Okay, it looks kind of strange at the moment. And that's because we haven't set the sort of configuration correctly. So it should be a flex. It should be item center. Oops. Should be items in the center. And you can see I'll save it as we do it so you guys can see the difference. Item center. And then I want to do space X3. So it's going to space apart from this child. MB2, margin bottom 2. So it's pushed away from its other sort of, siblings. And then we're going to say it's relative. And I'm going to show you why I say it's relative afterwards, because I'm adding a little green dot after, right? Now, when we hover over this, I'm going to say the BG gray of 200. So I want the background to change to 200. I want the cursor to become a pointer. Padding of 2 to pad it out a bit. It looks a bit small. And I'm going to say rounded XL. Okay. XL. And let me know, guys, what your favorite part of the build has been so far, by the way. Okay. So just comment it right now. What's your favorite part of this build been so far? Okay. And then the final part here, right, is I want to add a little online dot. Right. So I'll show you how to add a little online dot. Okay. So we're literally going to do it with a div. Okay. So this is an impressive one right now. I'm going to have a div. I'm going to say class name, and this one I'm going to say absolute. Is everyone there? Everyone's gone quiet on the chat. Absolute, and I'm going to say bottom. There we go. Don't we think that Sunny is awesome. Thank you, Damien. Say absolute, and I'll say bottom of 2. I'll say left of 7. Okay, and then I'll say I want to do a background green of 400, and then I want to do a height of 3, width of 3. And I want to do rounded 4. And this is literally going to go ahead. And if I don't do rounded 4, I'll show you what happens. That we literally add in a little box. Right? You see that little box? And if I do rounded 4, wait for it. Boom. Look at that. And if you really want to kind of mess around with it, you could do animate bounce. I'll show you this. Just to take the mic, you could do something crazy like this. Look at those little, look how it's jumping, guys. Look. Right, nice. Obviously, I'm not gonna have the animate bounce, but you could do that if you wanted to. Right. So then that's pretty good, right? Looks pretty damn solid. So right now, look at what we built, guys. Let's have a quick overview of everything that we built. So right now, this is actually pretty much at the endpoint. So we have our entire application working in the way that we expect, the way that we want, right? Lovely, beautiful design. We've got hero icons. We've got nice little kind of active states for everything. Nice hover effects with a little animate there. You see, we've got the complete responsive design, right? So let's go ahead and make this a bit smaller. See how the page completely resizes and changes its styling as we go ahead and get smaller, and it's completely mobile friendly. Look how clean that looks, right? All from some lovely stuff, right? And my favorite part of the login system was Nextdoor. Yeah, honestly, I really am glad everyone enjoyed that, because that was very powerful, right? And it just goes to show you how powerful this can honestly be with, you can add as many providers. If I had a Google one in, you would have Google, you'd have all of them pop up here, right? So it's incredibly easy amount of, you can save yourself a huge amount of time. Now, I will kind of save something to, you know, like to sort of, if you're interested, you guys can feel free to do it. But you see right here, right? Like right now, if we refresh, right, it loads up and the posts aren't immediately available, right? You see how the posts weren't immediately available and then they become available. Whereas if you see on sunnysanga.com, on the actual production one, when we refresh, the posts are immediately available, right? That's because I've actually added an additional server-side rendering step, right, on the finished one. Now, if you guys want me to show you that, I can show you that right now. Or you can feel free to grab the Papa GitHub repo for the extended little part that we need right there, right? So you can feel free to go ahead and jump in on that if you would like to. But that was an extended little bit of functionality with a server-side render, okay? So in fact, I mean, we could just do that. I mean, we could do that right now. We've been doing it for a while. Might as well just finish strong, right? So we've hit over 1,000 likes. Might as well keep on going. Go for it. Linzo said, go for it. Let's do it. We've got index, right? I'll show you how to do it. So where we've got the server-side render, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pre-fetch the posts on the server, right? So I'm going to say await DB, and I'm going to do collection of posts, right? Dot order by, and then I'm going to say timestamp descending. Okay, so timestamp descending, and then I'm going to say dot get. Okay, so this is not a real-time listener, right? It just gets. Okay, so it gets the information. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to transform this information. So when we get the information back from Firebase, it's kind of in this like Firebase format, right? Which isn't the best to kind of send over the internet. Okay, so the way we got to do this, we need to do a map to transform this. So I say post.docs.map, and I'm going to reshape it, right? So I'm going to say map. I'm saying for every single post, I kind of want the new post to look something like this. So we do a parentheses, curly brackets, and then we do opens. That's a direct return. I want the ID to be the post ID. Okay. I want the ... post data. Okay. And then there's an interesting little hack here. Okay. So typically this would be enough, but you can't actually send the timestamp over without losing some critical information. So when we prefetch, we actually don't fetch the timestamp, right? There's a reason for that. I'm not going to go too far into it, but that's actually quite an interesting one to go ahead and do, right? Lucas says, how does the share post functionality work? Dude, you're going to have to watch the entire video in order to check that out, but definitely do, because it was a lot of fun. Right, so here I'm going to pass it back through as props, right? So now we've got the post being prefetched on the server before it even reaches the browser, right? And then what I'm going to do now is, so notice right now it's still got the asynchronous. So wait for it. When this refreshes, watch how the posts aren't there, right? So wait until this refreshes. Oh, so sorry. This is DB. Then you need to do a little import. There we go. DB from the Firebase config. There we go. And then we do a refresh. Now wait for this. Okay, so you see how it's asynchronous. So look, it's wait, then it comes, right? But what if we could do it beforehand? So I've done a server-side render now where we've collected the data. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through. So from session, I'm going to get the posts as well, right? And I'm going to go ahead and pass in the posts here. So I'm going to say posts, right? Then I basically save the file. I go into my feed. I consume the posts, right? Post, okay, I get them from here. And then where we've got the posts, I'm actually going to pass in those as well. Okay, so posts. And now what I'm doing is, so I'm only doing 2-level prop drilling. If you want to kind of avoid that, you would push it into a store like Recoil or Redux and then handle it like so. But now what we do is we basically handle this in a very smart way, okay? We now say, right? We now say, firstly, if we have real-time posts, right? So here I'll say, if we have real-time posts, right? Thank you so much, Tammy. Right? If we have real-time posts, then we do this, okay? Then we kind of do all this stuff. Otherwise, right? So this is where the interesting part comes in. We say otherwise, right? We will render out the posts that we got server-side rendered. Okay, so what we do is instead of a normal one, what we do is we actually render out the server-side rendered post. Okay, so here I say post.map. Oops, sorry. I do post.map like so. Okay, and what I've actually messed up here is I've got an extra one here and this one here. Oops, there we go. Okay, so now what I'm saying is, okay, show real time. Okay, so oops, messed that one up. So only show the real-time posts that we basically map to from Firebase if we have them, right? Otherwise, show the one that we prefetch. And now when I refresh, look at this, guys. There will be no waiting. Look at that, no waiting at all, but the date will pop in when it loads, okay? So rather than getting invalid data, if you want to kind of fix that, you can fix that with a very simple check, okay? So we can go ahead and go to our post, bracket hell dude. Yeah, I know, honestly, it gets better though, it gets better. So you can change that with where we've got the p tag here, okay? So where we've got the p tag here, which loads out the sort of timestamp, what we can do is we can actually say, okay, if there's a timestamp, then I will render out, you know, I want to render out this special, like, you know, p tag that we sort of configured here, right? Otherwise, I want to render out a simple p tag. We're going to say p tag with a class name of, let's just say text dash small, so extra small. And then we'll say, oops, okay, forget that. Let's just say text p tag. Oh, screw it, p tag. There we go, p tag. And we'll say here, just loading. So this is just going to be saying loading. And then here I'll say class name equals, and then I'll say text of extra small. And then check this out, text extra small. And then I'll say text gray of 400. Hit save. Okay. Now check this out. So rather than when we get the server side render, so it will immediately be available because the server prefetched. So look at that. Then it says loading, boom. Now that's incredible, right? There is no waiting, there is no loading. I mean, loading for the timestamp, sure, but the actual content is, and if you notice, the pictures down below will only render or only load when you scroll to that point. It won't just load up all the pictures for no reason. It's only gonna show that picture when I scroll down to that point, okay? So this is literally everything completely built, right? This is actually incredible. We did it, guys. Across all of the sort of, you know, headaches that we were facing, we absolutely came through as the Papa Fam, and we absolutely demolished this, right? So here is today's build. I'm going to give you a complete run through of what we did today, right? We built a completely responsive, guys, completely, let me go ahead and say, yeah, there we go. We built a completely responsive Facebook 2.0 build, right? This has Firebase storage. It uses Firebase storage API. It uses Next.js. We use server-side rendering. We use Next authentication to power up a Facebook login, right? We literally have full responsiveness with Tailwind, right? It's incredibly powerful with what we've done in the short amount of time that we did it. Sure, it might have been a 4-hour stream, I think it was, maybe. But guys, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a long time when you're actually considering what we came out with at the end result, right? So this is actually an incredible sort of achievement, right? This looks incredibly slick. Great stuff. All right. Lucas says, do you find Tailwind CSS better than CSS modules? 1 billion%, dude. 100%. Casper, what's up, man? Good to see you, Casper. Nice to see. Casper is one of our members inside the Papa Fam. He joined Zero to Full Stack Hero and he's been in the coaching course. Amazing, dude. Great to have you here, man. This is just, honestly, this is so powerful. Saeed Ahmed says, I've been using Next.js for about a year now, but my new company wants me to start moving to Angular. Feels like my wife is leaving me. Next.js is amazing. Dude, no, I wouldn't move to Angular. I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do. All right, Simac says, hey, Sonny, I'm a Django dev. I want to start using React Next.js for my front end. How can I learn these without doing the whole JS thing? So remember, these are like React is a JavaScript library, right? And then Next.js is a framework for React. So under all of that, you have JavaScript, man. But what I'd recommend is, you know, there's lots of tutorials out there. Feel free to check out papareact.com. We've got a course. We offer a community, Zero to Full Stack Hero. We've got loads of modules in there that might help you out. But otherwise, honestly, just keep doing this stuff, man. You'll really pick it up quite a lot. And yeah, it's going to be amazing for you guys. Now, right now, I've shown you how to deploy this kind of apps before, right? I've shown you how to do these kind of apps. So we're not going to, maybe we'll cut this here, right? We're going to cut this here today. And, you know, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been absolutely incredible. I'm going to go ahead and check out how many people we actually have in today's likes. All right, so we have 1K likes. That's incredible, guys. That is absolutely crazy, and I can't be like, you know, like, thank you so much, guys. Absolute massive support. And yeah, I just want to say, guys, sign up, right? Sign up to the 5-day challenge, right? We've got £10,000 worth of prizes. It's going to be huge, right? It's going to be huge. We put a lot of work into this, and obviously after today's issues, we're still gonna make it happen, right? No matter what, we're gonna push through. Jay's probably watching this right now thinking he's crazy, man. How's he going to carry on doing this? But we are going to keep on doing it. Don't worry, guys. We're not going to stop. So yeah, until next time, guys, I guess sign up, first link in the description, and I will see you in the 5-day challenge, guys. Peace. Thank you so much for the new viewers, Simax, you know, a bunch of you guys. Thank you, Damien. All you guys are amazing, incredible stuff. And also, like, hope you enjoyed this. Well done if you did the build. And again, remember, all the code is available in the Papa GitHub repo. With that said, this is your boy Papa React. Thank you so much, guys. This made my day, you know, coming back from the technical issues that we had. I was getting so frustrated, but I'm so happy with this outcome. And yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Peace. Oh, Thomas, he says, I want to sign Sunny, but for the moment, just to Java backend developer. No, dude, jump in. This is for everyone. This is absolutely for everyone, right? Harpreet says, oh, Harpreet's here. Thank you, man. You stayed in, right? Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to wrap up here, though, right? So I'm actually going to end it now. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.